Right on. All right. Well, welcome to another kind of behind the art podcast. We got a new guest this time around with Flavor World, somebody that YouTube
Hello.
poached down my throat a couple days ago with just every tufting video. And man, I can say the least, I was intrigued by the first one, and now seeing the ASMR video go like crazy wild. I think we got a little bit to talk
Mm-hmm.
about with where you're taking your stuff and maybe just the creative endeavors.
Yep. Yep. See, the tufting videos, those are just like my Trojan horse
Sneak
to
them on
bring
in.
to bring my brand. Yeah, it's just my Trojan horse to bring Flavor World to everybody in the US.
I love it. I love it.
Actually, globally, I'm one thing I'm surprised with YouTube is how many like international commenters and viewers there are. Like a lot of people from different countries are tuning in. That's like super cool.
Dude, I love that part too. It's one of those where it's like literally just commonality of interest really brings people. And sure enough, if you're in Siberia, you might like making rugs too. So who can complain?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely one of the fun parts about making graffiti art and stickers and stuff is that has been such the core of what I've been having fun with and doing is just trading art with people. Really just bringing people from every corner together is kind of funny.
Do you ship things worldwide?
Yeah, yeah, not a ton. Percentage wise, it's still a lot of US stuff, but I'll bite the bullet and pay for international shipping every once in a while and get some stickers out there or
Yeah,
a t-shirt.
yeah, I love it. Well, I'm very glad YouTube was thrusting my videos into your face, and then I'm even more glad that my titles and thumbnails were enough to get you to
Oh, hell
click.
yeah. Dude, I
Happy
don't
to
know
be
what it
here. Thank you
was.
for having me on.
I think it was like 2 years ago. I saw someone use one of the Tufting guns, and I was like, "All right, that's pretty
hmm
cool." But they were just butchering it. Like whatever they were coming up with was just
mm
you could barely tell the shapes they were going after. And then I catch on to your channel, I see it, and it's like these are full on forms and like well lettered structures, and it's like, oh wow, people can really master this thing, and I had never heard of it before. I don't know. Did it take a while to get to
That is
that pace,
awesome.
or was it like kind of one of those that you cling to and were pretty good from the start?
Kinda. I was pretty good from the start, honestly. I mean, I've had a lot of like experience with just power tools in general,
Okay, nice.
and just other kind of textile arts. So this wasn't too much of a transition for me.
Hmm.
But it's funny you say that because I've actually been like such a huge fan of like Slew, especially who you've done this show with before,
Word,
this
yeah.
podcast with before. And so I would watch a ton of his videos. And I mean, I've always loved painting. I've always loved making videos, and I would make painting videos, and they never really like caught on. They
Nothing
never really
did.
got
Yeah, sure,
traction.
sure.
And I was like, okay, if I do this long enough, like it'll happen eventually. But then I just discovered tufting because something similar to you, where I saw it like a year ago or something
Hmm.
on Twitter, and I was like, oh, that's really cool, and just kind of forgot about it. One day, randomly came across it again, bought a tufting gun, and just in my head, I was like, this is it. Like if I make slew level videos
There you
with
go.
tufting,
High production
it'll
volume.
do the trick.
There you go.
Yep, exactly. Just taking the visual serious, I mean, because I would hear him say that too. Like he loves painting, but he also loves making the videos, and like
Hmm.
that is so true with me too. Like I love doing the cinematics, the camera angles, upgrading gear, like editing, lighting. Oh, I love all
And
that
dude, it's
as
it's got
much
to be that
as
whole package, right? Like you can't casually
yeah.
like, sure you can edit stuff on your phone now, but you can't casually be making a really aesthetic art production without that. And dude, it took me so long to realize that like maybe I should do more than one still shot on a speed art for 10 minutes and just speed it up. Like like Jesus, might have been making speed arts for 4 years before I realized that was I don't even like watching this, so it's probably not even that conducive and boring to everybody else either.
Yeah, if you don't like watching like your own videos, I don't know if it's working at the moment,
Right,
but
right.
no, that's funny because like I used to watch, I mean, like I would watch painting videos,
Mm.
and when I was trying to like get my painting videos to get traction, I would just search on YouTube like painting and just enter, search that. And
Yes, see what's up.
so many videos, it like blew my mind. There's so many videos with millions of views that are just time lapses of
Yep,
people
yeah,
painting.
sure.
And so, so I would try that and get like 100 views, and I'm like, okay, like
Where's
we're
the
getting
difference
there,
here?
but
Yeah, yeah.
I just didn't know what it was. But it's interesting, like what goes viral on the internet and
Oh,
what
for
does not.
sure.
Hard to say.
Yeah, I've recently re-inspired myself on the more creative side. I bit the bullet and got a 360 GoPro, so I've been able to play around with the production quality a little bit better.
Oh,
It's a crazy extra time to edit it and build all of the kind of the
yeah,
video, but it's a fun tool that I had definitely kind of fallen into my paces just with really still generic shots, and this has allowed me to be a little bit more creative on the filming side of things.
yeah, totally. How does that even work? A 360 GoPro? Does it
Yeah,
have like two cameras
two
on
cameras, and they
both
both
sides?
like I forget how much they shoot over, but they shoot maybe a little over 180 degrees, and then inside the software it stitches them together. But it'll even like
Wow.
yeah, it'll get rid of the selfie stick, so you can get some really like third person views, like full on GTA mode if you put a pole in your
My
backpack.
God.
So I've been having fun with
Yeah.
kind of mural painting and stuff with it, just because it gives a unnatural but pretty, I don't know, fluid view, because it's more or less a little orb following you around, and you can put it and prop it wherever you
Yeah.
want. So it's pretty sweet. It goes
Yeah.
goes
And
well.
you did one like 360 like VR video
Yeah,
recently
and
too, right?
that's with it, and that's
What?
literally like no editing. I don't have any means to edit a video like that, because when you export that, it's like all warped and wrapped and whatnot, and it's like, this is what it is. I can chop it and cut it, but I can't pan or do anything more than that. So it's kind of funny to be limited at some respects. I can't quite say I got the hardware to do everything, but it is adding
Yeah.
a little bit of creativity to my shots, and the POV stuff is obviously a nice kind of added depth to whenever you're making something, get it on the chest or the head.
Yeah, seriously. No, I've been thinking about getting a GoPro. I might have to do that
Dude,
actually.
the quality
Just
and
like time lapses and
yeah, dude, and the form factor. I never realized how annoyed I used to get at like trying to set up a big camera and like hang it over a desk or whatever. And it's like, this thing's like, I don't know, 2 by 2 inches, and you barely need a
yeah.
counterweight. You can hang it from anything. It's just the form factor. I don't think I would trade for anything at this point.
Wow. So do you film most of your videos on GoPro now?
Yeah, pretty much all of them. They have some settings now that get rid of the fisheye effect, so you really can't even tell that it's kind of that warped
What?
GoPro look. Yeah, the sensors and the software, man. I don't know who was working on that, but I can definitely appreciate it.
Seriously. Cool. Well, you got anything prepared that you want to talk
I
about?
I ran through some stuff. I guess on your side of things, I was curious about where the Friday T-shirt drop came from. Definitely envious of the
Uh,
one-on-one kind of creative flair you get to throw in that.
yeah, the weekly Flavor World one of ones. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, first quick, just for people that don't
Yeah, of
know.
course.
So I'm from Flavor World, so I got this YouTube channel where I make things just because I basically, long story short, I just like to make things, man. Like art, rugs, videos, paintings, even in like a brand, like I like building the brand. That's,
Hell yeah.
so clothing. So it started out as a clothing brand and now I'm kind of adventuring into more things with it. But so I do these weekly one of ones. So I'll make a one of one. I only make one of these clothing items and sell it on Friday at 5 p.m. The idea originally came honestly because it's a great way for me to keep um, what am I trying to say? Keep like have something to talk about pretty
Sure,
much
sure.
because
Okay.
I do these big collections of clothing where like the pacing has been like once a year pretty much. I do like all these clothes and I make everything before the drop.
Mhm.
And so I have this set amount and then I just sell and I chip away at that till it's gone. So of course it starts out really busy, really fast, but then it really kind of dies out slowly later on.
Hmm.
So the one of ones was originally an idea to give me something to talk about. So I'm not talking about those old clothes for a year,
Fair.
but now every week I have something new to talk about. I can show a video of me making it. I can, keep my mind sharp too, just like cranking out all these ideas. So
Hmm.
it's been awesome and it's been really well received, which is terrific. I'm having a great time doing it all around. Flavor Friday one of ones has been a great idea.
Yeah, man. It definitely seems like, whenever you give yourself almost like a creative constraint there, it's like, all right, what can I do within these bounds? And then you just push that envelope as far as you can in 20 different directions, and forcing yourself to revisit it must be kind of the growth that you really do see, is that week to week you must be like, oh, this one's way better than 3 weeks ago. Or I don't know, maybe I'm just
Yes.
inserting my bias to that, but it's like, damn, every time I
No,
see them I'm liking them more and more.
you're absolutely right. Like sometimes they are much better than others. And honestly, a lot of that comes down to, well, I mean, it's weird because a lot of it just comes down to like luck or chance. Like art is weird like that
I
because
can see it, yeah.
sometimes I'll like forget about it and it'll be like Thursday at 6 p.m. or something. And
Oh,
like I
really?
have to have it done by Friday. So I'm like, oh my God, I got to do this now. I got to do it quick, quick. What am I going to do?
Hmm.
And sometimes those are my favorite ones, like just the ones where it's like I don't have time to think, I don't have time to plan. I just got to grab a blank t-shirt, get something on it,
Hmm.
embroider it and like sometimes the less you think about the creation of art, the better it goes, which is kind of like a weird paradox,
No,
but
I think that's true though, because sometimes when you do get loose with it, it's like, all right, it's gonna be what it's gonna be, so you don't let your like psyche get in the way of like over deciding for every little thing, and you're just like, all right, well, we're gonna have to push through with something, so I don't know, let it build on what you start with, and then sure enough, you're gonna end up with something, whether or not you like it or not. It's at least a pace there.
exactly. Yeah, and I loved earlier you called it a set of bounds. Like you have
Mm.
these bounds to work within, and I think that absolutely nails it because I actually for those, I mean, I just own a bunch of blank t-shirts, just
Hmm.
hundreds and hundreds, just from buying too many from another drop
Of
or
course, of course.
ordering sample. I just have some boxes of these t-shirts. So that kind of acts as my set of bounds where it's like I don't actually buy any new shirts for these one of ones. I just
Hmm.
kind of like dig through the boxes and I'm like, oh, I haven't done a size medium for a while. Like this one looks cool. I'm gonna do this. And then just from there it's like and same with the screen printing and even the embroidery. I actually don't use like completely original screens. I
Right.
have
Yeah.
a ton of screens, just like it's kind of obnoxious. I have a problem getting
Just
rid of
collecting
things,
all of
but
them. Yeah.
yeah. So I have a ton of old screens. I have screens for like almost all the Flavor World shirts I've ever printed. So the one of ones is just kind of like repurposing old designs in new ways, a new
Hmm.
ink color, a new shirt color, a new placement, a new something, just spicing it up. So I love how you said, you got these bounds to work within because that is exactly how it feels.
Well, I mean that's so much of like what art tends to be. You can always try to over complicate it and just try to make something way too grand, but at some point it's like, all right, you got to pick a route to go, and I think that often comes out in style and whatnot. Is, well, I'm gonna make a drawing within somewhat of a constraint of a style, and then execute on that. I catch myself so often though, like going way too grand with like, all right, I can just print 40 of these t-shirts now, and not taking the time halfway through to be
Mhm.
like, man, I probably should have just left this black and white. All these colors on top look awful. Like it was way
Yeah.
more clean as like a just a character drawing. And I've done that to myself, and like literally the whole batch of shirts, it's like, no wonder those didn't sell. Like it's like just getting
Mhm.
too eager at times is the con of it. So I'm definitely, I
Exactly,
need to
but
take that note,
I
being
mean
like,
that's
slow it
almost
down.
that's true, but that's it's almost part of the process.
Oh, for
Just like
sure.
you
Yeah.
got to mess up, and you got to and like even maybe sometimes you've like rushed things and ended up loving it or something.
Mm.
Like I don't know. I'm just big on. I actually have a video on my channel called "Mistakes Don't Exist,"
Oh,
and
nice,
it's like,
solid.
well, I just love that message. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, kind of what I'm trying to say with it is like, I do think mistakes exist. It is possible to do things that like don't go as
Sure.
intended,
Yeah.
or you know, like mistakes do exist, but it's more the mindset of like, especially with art, like if you approach it as just like total optimism, like mistakes don't exist, it'll just be a much smoother experience. And the title of the video actually came from because I was painting. It was just a painting video. I was filming it while I was painting it and then voiceovered later.
Hmm.
And while I was painting, I was loving it. I thought it looked sick. And then I did one thing that just like ruined it. I was just
Oh
like,
yeah.
this now just looks stupid. Like
That's
I
all
shouldn't
you can
have done
focus
that. Like it
on,
looks,
right?
yeah. And I was so frustrated by it. I was just like, I completely ruined it by doing that, and just overthought that for a bit. And then I was sitting there, you know, camera rolling, and I was just like, you know what? That's all right. Like what, like truly, what if I just accept it and like keep painting? And then it ended up like working out for the best because I made that mistake, I had to cover it with something else. And what I covered it with, I actually liked more than the original. So it's just about the mindset of just like
Dude, I'm there
flowing
with
with
you.
it, you
Yeah,
know?
it's, I mean, you can only control so much, right? And if you beat yourself up
Mhm.
over what could have been perfect, it's like chances are you probably weren't going to execute on that perfectly. So roll with the punches, and you know, and just like keep at it kind of thing. And yeah, I think the expectation of like I'm gonna have this piece of art finished tomorrow is just like totally out the window at this point. Literally, I'm working on
Yeah.
projects kind of just in a flow all the time, and when I decide to get to
Yep.
digitalizing that stuff, or when I decide to polish and finish a sketchbook, it's when it's done. I don't know. I'm not rushing through it anymore. It's I don't have any quota to fit or any special outline that needs to be
Yep.
finished tomorrow.
Absolutely. I swear I have like 10 paintings going on right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
And actually what I've found to be a dangerous habit of mine is I'll hang up unfinished paintings,
Ooh,
mainly just to like clear space on the
okay.
floor.
Do they ever come off the
But
wall?
I'll just yeah, sometimes, but it's a lot harder, you know, like once it's
Mm,
been on the wall for a couple weeks and you kind of get used to it and you
yeah,
get used to
sure.
how it looks there, and then it's so hard to like take your brush, put paint on it, and just like get going again. It's super weird, but
Dude, I'm
I
with
don't know.
that.
I just love it. Like even half finished art, I just love how covered walls look. So
Dude, my room at college was just postered and plastered with everything on it. And it was one of those. Nobody
yeah,
really thought it looked cohesive but me, and it was like I don't actually care. I just like the stories about each of these, and I like to, have a little memento about little spots here and there. And it's like
totally,
it could look weird and whatever, but don't look at the context too much. Come on. Like,
for sure. And I've noticed that with some of your sticker, like I guess creations or
sure,
whatever.
sure.
Like when you'll just like cover like a binder
Mhm.
in stickers, and it just looks like layers and layers. Or I remember a video of yours where you were using your vinyl cutter to make stickers, and then you just like put those stickers right on the vinyl cutter,
Yep,
just
just
like covering covering old stickers, just like layering. It's like it's so cool. It just shows like age to the object, I guess, and like you
yeah.
can see the time passing. Like, oh, I remember that sticker way
Dude,
back when I was young.
dude, my water bottle's my favorite. I always piss when I lose one. It's like got stickers from 10 years ago. You got the vinyl that's like peeling off. You got the silk screen that's like beat up, and it's like, no, that's way better than the original. Like it doesn't need to be clean anymore. Like,
Seriously, yeah, it's just more fun, and it gives you something to talk about
of
too if someone
course.
ever sees it.
Dude, that's literally
So
in hindsight, that was like my favorite part of my favorite part about t-shirts is that you have now a common ground for like people to be like, "Oh, I like that." And now you have something to talk about. And it's kind of the
yeah,
same with stickers. It's like, all right, you can personalize things a little bit, and there's literally always something to say if it catches someone else's eye.
yeah, exactly. I think like some of the best art is just like conversation
Hmm.
pieces, like just the things that make people talk. Or some of the most fun art, I guess. Like
Yeah,
I don't
it
know.
adds so much depth to more than just the imagery, you know? Like we can both sit down and watch a video side by side and probably not get the same thing out of it. But if we're having a conversation about something, that I think that just tenfold on top just adds so much to it. So I'm always down to pass out stickers and always have them in my pocket for friends and whatever, just because why not? It gives us something to talk about, even if they don't collect stickers. It's like, well, sorry, your mini fridge is now my sticker spot too. So every time I come over, I'm gonna bring some more. Like,
That's awesome. Take a wild estimate of how many stickers have you slapped in public?
Oh, slapped probably 1,000 maybe. I was pretty busy in
That's a
school.
lot.
I would do a couple a day, yeah. And so and
Just like walking to class and
yeah,
just like
literally.
slapping
I
them up.
lived a couple miles from
Same,
school,
dude.
so riding my bike down, stand up on the bike, put them up on stop signs and anything. So
Yeah.
you
No,
could
I'm
see that
actually on that same thing.
I do. It's just fun and easy, and it's like chances that someone takes a picture of it, 1 in a million. I've gotten tens of photos back of things I've put up. It's not for that. It's just because
Mhm.
maybe I come home, late one night, and it's like, oh yeah, I know this corner street, and follow the stickers home or whatever. It's like,
Mm, that's interesting. I guess that is a good question. Is just like, well, like, why do you do it? Because me, I do actually slap a lot of stickers. I have a
oh
lot here.
nice,
They're all the logo.
awesome, yeah, dude, I dig the logo
Because
a lot.
appreciate it so much. I think it's a blessing from the gods, man. I didn't even. It just happened. But
There you
anyways,
go.
anyways, it wasn't me, man. It was an out of body creation.
It's just coming here.
No, but what I'm saying is, the the stickers for me, it's kind of like a marketing thing, because
Sure,
it's like,
sure.
oh, if I sticker slap 100 stick, that was kind of my thought. Like I was in school at the time, and I was
Mhm.
like, oh, if I get all these stickers and I cover the campus in them, everybody's gonna wonder what these stickers are.
Someone's
And
got to know.
when they know, when they'll know, they'll be excited to know, and they'll go to the website or whatever. So for me, it was largely like a marketing thing. I get what
Hmm.
you're saying, where it's like really cool to see your own stickers just when you're out walking around or whatever. But I don't know. I'm curious why do you do it? Why are you so drawn to like stickers in specific?
Yeah, I think it's accessibility. I pretty much started my art with stickers because I couldn't find some stickers, and I was like, all right, come on, it can't be that hard to make a sticker. And, plugged around
Hmm.
on the internet and found some few different ways about stenciling and stuff. And I think it was always just like super accessible for everybody to get a blank sticker from the post office, draw on it, and then what is that, 50 cents to mail it to you, and now you got some like authentic
Hmm.
one of one art from somebody else. And that idea of like not only the community behind it and being able to freely exchange art, but then also get my stuff in other people's hands and have hopefully them put it on something and deck it out and make it look a little cooler. I don't know, just always caught in that trip of like, hey, just nice to wallpaper stuff. It's literally almost free at times, and the cost I put into it to make my stickers, a little bit more durable, is just well worth the fact that it will survive on a surface that much longer. So I don't know, just caught in the hype of getting my stuff around the world and seeing what other people do with it, kind of thing.
Yeah. No, it's super cool, and I love what you do with the sticker submission videos where people send you in stickers,
Hell
and
yeah.
then do you send them back stickers of yours, or do you send them
Yeah.
other stickers you got from the submissions? How does
It's
that
a
work?
total mix. So I bring them in and I'll flip through all the packs. And I've actually been doing them on live stream recently, and that format seems to be way better because then you get people can like live comments and be like, "Yo, that sticker's so
Mm,
fire! Like, hang out, let's check the details on that." So, ironically enough, the
yeah,
format's changed recently, and it well for the better. And then I'll remix everybody's packs if they send me an envelope inside their package that's got their address back on it and a couple stamps. I'll just stuff that full of anything I got and drop it in the mailbox, and so they get a little bit in return for contributing to the
that's so
ecosystem.
cool.
Dude, but it's like it's never ending. I've got a box of 10,000 stickers at this point that I can't get rid of. And so, I give away 20 stickers in every order I send out. I give away 40 stickers if somebody sends me 20. It's just like, and there's so many people that just want to give into that system too. It's like, hell, everybody, I guess, is caught by the same hook as I was. And that, like, no, I don't care where they go. Just as long as I'm doing something, it might feel a little productive. Somebody might have a good time with it. I might get tagged on Instagram. It's kind of one of those easy trade
Seriously.
things.
Seriously, that's a super cool idea. See, now in my head, I'm thinking like, what if I did that for T-shirts or something?
Dude, that'd
Like,
be
because
wild.
I love that idea of just like you've just created this network,
Just
like
trade
where
economy,
you're the you're yeah, this trade economy where you're like the trunk of the tree. You're like you're like the person, the banker handing out, collecting all the money and handing
Yeah.
it all out. Like you're just the center of this network where everyone's sending you all these stickers and you're distributing them.
Yeah,
That's super interesting, actually.
it's fun, and not that it's like there's no money to be made. I'm not trying to sell other people's stuff, but I'm always trying to spin it like, now that I have somewhat of a reach in this kind of niche community, could I put together like a mix pack of 5 different artists, get all those stickers printed, and then start helping like, feed money back into the 5 artists that sent, designs my way to get printed and shared that way. So I'm
Yeah,
trying to
absolutely.
scheme up something right now where it's like, all right, I pay 5 artists $50 each, so you get paid a little bit for having your design featured in the pack. I'll sell and distribute them, and just start like a monthly pack video that also includes, hey, support these 5 artists because for every dollar you spend on them, they're getting paid for it, and helps artists reach kind of the audience that's already there. So I don't
That's
know,
so cool.
trying to spin it so that
Um,
not only can I support artists within showing the little square of their stuff, but also put some money back into whatever they want to do, because there's nobody sponsoring me or you out here for art we make. It is what it
mhm.
is. So I don't know. Figure that there's a
Yeah.
little to give back there.
Truly, but I also think like beyond like the exposure and the money you could give them, I think a lot of what that might do for people is just like seeing their stickers on your video, like
Oh, of
being
course.
discussed by you.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm sure you get like DMs like, "Yo, thank you."
For
Like
sure.
'cause that I just have memories like that where even like I'll comment on like a YouTuber's live stream and they'll read my comment
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, "Oh my
It's a
God."
trip.
Like
Dude, the more wild thing is when like a mom or dad comments and they're like, "Hey, don't tell my kid that I emailed you, but can I like get some stickers or something? How does this thing work? Like, where
oh
do I have to
god.
mail these to?" And it's like, hell yeah, like I'll explain it to you. Like, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so cool that they know their kid likes it
Of
enough
course,
that
yeah, of course.
they're
And
uh,
it's a good time too, because it is one of those. It's like, I'm not here to critique anybody's art on it. It's just checking stuff out. So it's one of those that it's like, sure, I do get a super range of skills, but it's like, I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm honest enough that I can find something I like in almost any piece of art. So it's like, by all that record, it's like you can be genuine in reacting to checking everybody's stuff out, and then giving them a chance to get some cool stuff in return.
yeah, seriously, for like yeah, like 50 cents or
Right,
however much it
right.
costs to stamp an
It's
envelope.
it's
Like
yeah, it's literally the lowest denominator of art. So not that I don't mind it
yeah.
for that point. I would gladly spend $2 on a sticker to get it. It just is, it's one of those accessibility things that I think for a lot of people is kind of an entry point into art, and then I see a lot of people go their ways, but you can always go and make cheap stickers that if you get bored or need something to pass around.
Mhm. Okay, I was gonna ask you about screen printing
For
because I
sure.
saw one video you made. It must have been a long time ago, but you screen printed with Mod Podge on like a
Oh
super like
yeah.
wide mesh screen. I remember watching that and it worked, but it was this crazy look. I mean, I do an absolute crap ton of screen printing. I'm wondering if you've like upgraded since then, if you do a lot of screen
Oh yeah.
printing or what.
Yeah, was all the way up to a 4 color press doing like super
Wow,
high
okay.
detail, like, yeah, 200 mesh counts for stickers so that you could get good resolution out of them. Recently I had to sell that when I moved to Denver, so don't have it all right now. So I'm itching to find somebody I can scam their tools off of. But yeah, I was printing
Yeah,
every other weekend when I had it in my spot. So I was safely. It's an addictive art form because you can pump stuff out, and the format of it, and just the, I don't know, the little bit of texture you get, and the fact that you can put it on so many different mediums, just so much fun.
so much fun. And I actually had this idea. I want to do this someday. Like I want to wheat or I want to screen print just like massive posters, just
Word,
like
word.
huge, like 3-4 foot posters or something, and then go wheat paste those up on like
Nice,
trains or
nice,
something.
nice, dude. If
I just feel like I've never seen something wheat pasted on a train,
yeah, I'm trying to think.
you know?
That
Like a
definitely not.
poster. I don't
Yeah,
know.
definitely not common. You know, you could even do the Shepherd Ferry multi-layer one up and just get, you know, sections on each print and make it even twice as big from there. I
Oh, like
You
make
ever
a
seen him
big
do that?
print.
Yeah, you ever seen him do that where he'll go to Kinko's and he'll, you know, whatever, it's 18 inches wide maximum, but you can do 40 inches long. So then he prints each 18-inch section of the thing and then kind of tiles them up so you can get it, you know, 40 by 40 instead. So
Yeah,
definitely
that's
one of the
crazy.
classics.
That's a cool idea.
Dude, I hunted for large format screens back in high school. Sketchiest Craigslist buy ever. Show up to this dude's spot, like kind of run downtown in New England. Not much is going on there. And he's like, yeah, I've got all these silk screens. Never seen this format before. They're all aluminum, but they're like, I don't know, a half-inch bar, maybe a quarter-inch bar. So super shallow frame. But they're probably 24 by 36 frames. And I'm like, I need these, dude. Okay. And he's sitting there trying to hustle me to buy every single used frame he has. And he's got like 200 of them. Like, I don't think you understand, dude. I got 50 bucks in my
What?
pocket. Like, I'm trying to scam 3 of these off of you. Like, he's bringing me into his basement in the back corner. It's one of those, like, I didn't tell anybody I'm coming here kind of thing. Like, this dude could have his.
Yeah.
But it's all good. He's got
He's like
grateful.
trying to sell you his whole print shop.
Literally, no. He was like, "Yeah, stuff's not going so well, so I'm trying to sell everything." And he's got Grateful Dead prints up on his like 18 color press. The thing was huge. Probably not 18, but it was like at least 10 or 12 colors on this press. And he's got all the old like ski map, like when I guess they used to screen print them and put them up on the mountains, and so they're all kind of still burned into these screens, but never got a chance to use them. Never hustled my way into making a big poster, so
Yeah, weird.
gotta go pull those out of the
Interesting.
parents' storage.
Exactly. Yeah,
they're,
get them back to life.
they're tucked away.
No, I've been loving screen printing lately. Actually, it's funny when I first started screen printing, it was mainly just like, see, I've never been able to find the exact words to describe it, but it wasn't like an art in itself for me. It was more of just like printing. It was like a way of transferring my art.
Sure,
You know,
sure.
like it was almost like I felt like a inkjet printer. You
Yeah,
know, like it
yeah.
was just utility to get my drawings onto a shirt.
Hmm.
But now I'm looking at it differently, where it's like, oh, like I can do all these different things with screen printing. Like I can get really creative with it, the colors and like in some of my YouTube videos where I like blend the colors together. It's
So
like
much fun.
that's totally new to me, like doing these split fountain prints. And
Hmm.
so I've been loving it lately. And that's why I'm thinking about this big poster idea, because I'm just like, well, now I want to make art with it.
Right, dude. And some of the screen like poster print stuff is just like enough. It's the quality's good enough that you can make literally like a perfect representation art that someone would frame and hang. You know, the quality is like so easy to get to, like a minus quality, that it really does add a lot of value to. You know, you're not hand painting this. It's not a Kinko's print. You know, this thing is actual, like, has some substance to it.
Yeah, and one thing I love about printing on paper is it's a
Hmm.
little risen up, but you know,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
elevated off
Doesn't
the
set as
paper.
well.
It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's got a little hand feel to it, and that's so cool. I'm the first time I printed on paper, because I did it on t-shirts for so long
Hmm.
before I ever did it on paper for the first time. And when I did it on paper, I was like, oh my God, like it sits on there, like that's beautiful.
Yeah, dude. The first time I was trying plastisol inks before I knew anything about them. Didn't read that you had to get them
Yeah.
cured or whatever. I printed on some paper, and just the oils that like leached out of it were so wild. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm leaving this piece of paper here to dry for 4 weeks. So like some of this stuff evaporates out and it's not tacky anymore. But it was one of those. It was like still oil slick design kind of border around my messy little print. I was like, I could get with this. Like even when you mess up,
Yeah.
it still kind of works sometimes.
Hey, mistakes don't
Hey,
exist,
there it is. That's why.
It's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's funny. the jump for me from water-based ink to plastisol ink was a game changer. I had no
Nice.
idea. And
Hmm.
like you, like I didn't know what I was getting into at
Of
first.
course
I think
not.
I read on like I read on like one screen printing forum about plastisol ink and I was like, "Yes, I need to do that. That's what the pros
Yep,
use."
yeah.
And then ran into all these problems, but it's through the solving of those problems that I learned a lot.
Yeah,
So,
dude, I'm there with you. It was like literally, well, I'm not gonna throw away this ink now, kind of thing. Like I already spent money doing that. Now
yeah.
let me figure out how to get this thing to dry. It was like,
Yeah.
yeah, parents didn't quite appreciate when I would cook in the basement with the heat press on and the plasol inks curing, and I was
Yeah.
like, come on, it's winter out. Like I gotta do something down here. Smallest
Yep.
box fan ever, trying to vent it out. It's like,
That's so funny because when I was at my parents' house printing, I only did water-based back then,
solid. Yep.
thankfully, and I was doing it, like, in the living room,
Oh,
crazy
good
enough. They
shit.
didn't let me do that. But after that, I moved into a house on my own with some roommates, and we had a basement, and yeah, it's like sounding like what you were describing, where it was just like not too many fumes for that
Yeah,
little room. Oh
dude.
man,
It got even worse.
I did not
Some of
know.
some of the vinyl stickers I would print, I use like solvent ink, which you gotta wear a respirator, and it's like nasty stuff
Mhm.
because it like etches into the plastic a little bit to actually bond on there. And dude, that would fumigate the
Interesting.
house. My roommates just would leave that day. I'd be like, "Sorry guys, gotta pay rent, so we're gonna be printing some stickers this afternoon." Fucking like cold towel under the
Yeah.
door, trying to keep it from going upstairs.
Oh my god, just lock yourself in the basement with
Literally,
it.
dude.
Like,
I'd have like
that's so
one of those like huge vacuum or like air blowers that you blow up the carnival bouncy castles with, like
oh,
that
yeah.
scale. Scan one of those from my friend, have it like roped up to one of the windows in the basement, just at 1,000 decibels, blowing air out, trying not to put it into the house. It's like, gee.
That's so funny. That's just that young, like, artist life,
Right, I could
though.
care
Just like,
less.
I need to make these stickers
Yeah.
right now. Like, so how do you do that? Because I've been interested in screen printing stickers. Do you have to
Word.
use a certain type of ink?
You can get away with plastisol, and it honestly is my preferred. It cures a little funny. You have to be careful with not cooking the vinyl too hot, but you can get it to
Yeah.
cure on there, and it'll hold forever. I literally have
Wow, you don't put any like clear. You don't put like a clear
nothing,
coat or
dude.
nothing.
It's strong enough. Yeah,
Wow,
it's
plastisol on vinyl
people say you
works.
can't do it, but you do it. It's the way to move because it gets you that 3D texture, like full on. It's like so robust that it's plastic on plastic. Like it's not going anywhere. I was literally home on vacation over Christmas, and must be what, 9 years ago. I've got a sticker still riding. Looks like day one. Like perfect half
No
toning.
way.
Yeah, I was checking it out. It was one in like a spot that's trafficked, but no one's walking by and peeling stuff off of these signs. And I was like, let me go see if that's still there. Sure enough, see it from the road. Like still looks mean. And it's
Oh,
like,
outside
for
too?
sure, yeah, full on, yeah, in the weather.
Oh my god.
So it's just
Dude, you just
can't
changed
beat it,
everything for me.
dude. It's the
Plastisol
move.
on vinyl.
Yeah, it'll smell pretty
So how do
gnarly.
you yeah, true, curing it.
So get yourself a
So
fan
do
too.
you yeah, true. I gotta get one of those big inflatable fans. No, so how do you do it? Like what's your technique? Do you print it and then cut out the vinyl or there's
Yeah,
some vinyl cutters that can use like a laser to like read it or
yep.
something? Like
I've tried
what's your
that.
move?
I've tried that. Most of mine hand cut. I do have like a big paper cutter, so if it's square shots, I can get pretty consistent with the registration and chop all the sheets at the same time. A lot of hand cutting if it's a shape. I have a plotter that can read registration marks
Mhm.
and cut around it, but it doesn't work well on anything but black and white. So you really do run a
Oh,
risk of
interesting.
like messy registration. And I've not lost money, but definitely net zero on some print projects for other people where half the sheets I had to cut by hand because it just wasn't seeing the circle it needed to cut, and everything was off by half an inch, and that's cutting circles through the wrong part of the design, you know.
Yeah, that's crazy. So does your vinyl cutter have the plotter, or is that a separate
Yeah,
thing?
it's all in one. So it does have like it's more or less a little laser that looks for the markings to decide where to you send the cut
Cool.
to. Um, I'm sure they're better now. My machine's like 8 years old, so my guess is you might be able to
Mhm.
hustle them a little bit better, but it is a
Sure.
practical use. But hand cutting, after all, it's like, yeah, I'm no better than a pair of scissors sometimes. I can cut 50 stickers out while I watch TV, and I'll get around to it. Like,
Yeah. Gives you something to do, kind of.
oh, for sure. Yeah, I could. I'm a busybody anyways. I can't really catch myself sitting down watching TV casually. So that or I'm endlessly scrolling on Instagram. So what will it be?
Yeah, yeah. That's a good point. You might as well occupy your hands a bit with something productive.
For
That's cool.
sure.
Yeah. I've been wanting to get a vinyl cutter lately, so I might have to do it. Do you recommend? I mean, do you use it for a lot of your projects, a lot of your
Yeah,
stickers?
I'm prepping a new set right now. I've been doing a lot of like multi-layer stuff. So you do like the blue outline, and then you cut like another backdrop to it, and you layer them on top of each other, so you can get multiple
Mhm,
colors on the design. And that's fun because it adds texture and just that little bit of depth that you get, and maybe some natural shadows and shadings from the top layer down to the bottom layer. I think just adds a cool
mhm.
level to texture, and it's the least intrusive to my small space right now, so it gets the job done.
Yeah, that's super cool. I might have to do it. I get all my stickers online at the moment, really,
Nice.
so I would love to. Yeah, it's nice because you can get good quality and like I have some. I got a bunch of my logo that like have the text, like it says
Mm-hmm.
text on the back of it on the
Oh.
paper part, and I think that's awesome. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe you could do that with a vinyl cutter. Could you send the back through a printer and then
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah. The back's kind of just a paper material. You might get away with it on like a laser jet or an inkjet.
What about screen printing
Oh,
on
for
both
sure,
sides?
definitely. That
That's
power move
awesome.
right there.
See, that's what I'm saying. Screen printing is such a tool.
Yeah,
You can
it
do
literally
so much
goes
with
on every surface. It's like,
it. Yeah.
dude, funny thing. Some place I worked at in college, it was like an internship. I casually dropped that like I knew how to screen print, and they're like, "Oh, good, we screen print like these massive window panels for like aircrafts." And so they're
Whoa.
yeah, they're printing like huge format stuff. So like, all right, we'll take some of your expertise, and I swear to God, that's why I got the job, because they had me set up like an automated single color screen printing press that would like take your head off as it like drops the pallet down and like gets the screen in place and squeegees across. And it's like, wow, I guess, yeah, this
Oh
isn't
my god.
hobbyist after all. There's some pretty next level uses to this in like industry.
Yeah, seriously. See, that reminds me of my downstairs neighbors here at my art studio.
Hmm.
They it's like a commercial building. They're like some artists, some like businesses, some, there's an instrument repair guy. Like
Oh,
there's like
cool,
an
cool, yeah.
interesting mix of people here. But the people right below me are like a really like established screen print shop,
Oh, cool,
and
cool.
they have one of those like automated 6 color like
Yeah, yeah.
12 palette
Hmm.
like massive machines, and I can just hear it down there just cranking away, and
Yeah, dude, they're
it's so funny
loud.
because I'm they're loud, and I'm right above them, just like with my little 4 color one station. Yeah, like the cheapest one on eBay, and I'm
Yeah,
like
yeah.
doing my thing. My springs are like squeaking, and there's this like,
Hydraulic, yeah.
yeah. It's just funny. Like a couple times we'll be like printing at the exact same time, and I'm like, oh, you could do my entire business's worth of work in an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Dude, I've gotten turned away from some local places where they're just like, yeah, just don't even humor 24 t-shirts anymore. I was like, really? Come on. Like,
oh
nobody's taking
yeah.
my bites here. It's like, gotta go back to doing it all myself.
Yeah, seriously. I feel like that's probably the shops that get these automated ones because
Oh
24
yeah.
t-shirts they could have done in like an hour, not even probably
Dude,
less.
yeah.
They probably half an hour. They can probably do more than a shirt a minute. I don't
Setups
know. They go
everything.
so
Yeah,
crazy.
setups everything. It's like setting up the artwork, getting it on the machine, getting everything registered is 95% of it. So no wonder it's so cheap to print 1,000 versus 25.
Yeah, seriously. But I mean, I love like keeping the screen printing on my own too, because I think it allows like a lot more of like a, I guess, a personal touch,
For sure.
a little more like a little more of like an artist's touch, I
Hmm.
guess. Like, even though earlier I was saying I just kind of feel like I'm an inkjet printer onto my
Yeah,
t-shirts, you
yeah,
know, but
yeah.
like even with that as my mindset, it's like, well, I still like mess up the placement half an inch and
Hmm.
have to decide if it's good or not, or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it makes me think a little bit more about the designs, and I really appreciate that aspect of it.
That happened to me too. It was like I did this print that was a decent design, didn't really translate well to screen printing, but then kept messing up the centering on it. So I was like, all right, screw it. I'll just do an all over print and just printed it 50 times across the t-shirt and just patterned it up. And I was like, there you go. You can't tell the center one's off center because you got 5 more coming in 10 directions. Like, just
Yeah,
trying to make it work with everything that was supposed to be a throwaway.
that's so funny. I've been there tons of times. Or like one time I sent a guy a hoodie,
Hmm.
and after he got it, he emailed me and he was like, "Hey, this like the embroidery on the center is like it's like really off-centered, like noticeably off-centered."
Hmm.
And I, of course I feel so bad. I'm like, "Okay, here, like ship it back to me and I'll get you a replacement."
Hmm.
And he was right, it was super off-centered, but what I did was I then like screen printed the other off centered to like
Okay.
overcompensate, kind
Counterbalance.
of.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
counterbalance. And now it's my personal favorite
There you
hoodie
go.
because it looks
Perfect.
so cool. It's like two off centered prints that like
Hmm.
kind of balance each other out.
Dude, that's the wildest
And
thing
he
about
got
like half toning in general. It's like your eye can play the whole trick on what the pattern actually looks like. It's like it doesn't have to be down
yeah,
straight center. This could be a squiggly line, and just the weighting of light to dark can be enough to really give it its like balance.
seriously. Or like CMYK screen
Dude, I would
printing.
love
I've
to do some of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've actually never done it, but just like watching the videos on the internet
It's
of like
satisfying,
color by
dude.
color getting layered,
Hmm.
and then like suddenly there's like this photorealistic
Right.
picture there. It's like, what? I'm just like, how is that even possible? Like, how are my eyes fooled like that?
Right, right. Yeah, literally, like how did the colors layer like that perfectly? And it all comes together with that black print on top. It looks so like nothing
Yeah.
right beforehand. It's like,
Yep.
I was always like, man, I gotta find some photo that like looks good in color because so much of my stuff is like single wash colors, bold lettering that's
Mhm.
outlined or whatnot. And it's like that doesn't translate to CMYK. I need like an actual, you need a photo. And it's like, damn, never
Mhm.
got into it when I still had the 4 color press. So a lost dream until I re up.
Yeah, truly. No, someday I'll give it a go. I'm still
Nice.
intimidated by it. Me and my $150 press are
Yeah,
a
right.
little nervous, but
Do you have a
why
hard
not?
time with
I should try
registration
it.
on it or multicolors?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
it's terrible, dude. I mean, like the first like four like collections for my brand,
Hmm.
almost all of them, honestly,
Oh, gee.
they're all just one color.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
Just
even though
keep
I
it
had this
easy.
4 color press, because it's so hard, man. Like on this cheap press, it's
Hmm.
like uh, so hard. But
Dude, I
I'm
would.
getting it down now.
I
Learning how to use the terrible press.
Right. I was banging mine with hammers. Like I'd get it close and then just like
Yep. Oh my
tapping it,
god.
tap, 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 and then try to get it tight. And it was like
Yep.
hours spent trying to get these things aligned.
Yep, exactly. Or like one time I tightened down a screen so hard that I had to use like a wrench to undo it. I'm like,
Oh,
how
gee.
does that like how do the physics of that make sense? Like, I'm the one that made it that tight. How can I not untighten it?
Was it? Well, you probably
I
heated
have
it
no
up a
idea,
bit
dude.
with the flash cure, maybe. That'll do
Oh,
it.
maybe
Temp
that's actually probably it.
temperature
Oh,
will
that's
tighten your
interesting.
bolts.
Yep. See, that's the thermal engineering in
There
you
we
right
go.
there. Step ahead in the screen printing
Yeah,
game.
I can see where the problem's coming from. Don't tell. I can't fix it though. So we're both in the same
Yeah,
place.
fair, fair, fair.
How's your like local scene with art and all?
Oh, that's an awesome question. Honestly, I love it, and I think it's like super. I guess underrated, but I feel like that's easy for anyone in any art community to
Mm,
believe. I think what I mean by that is just that there are so many like super super talented artists in my area, which is Minneapolis, St. Paul area. Um, that they'll have like 100 followers on Instagram, and like
right,
they do
right.
it super casually, like they
Hmm.
don't think twice about it. And I'll like come across their stuff and I'm like, what, like let's
Yeah.
meet up, like let's talk, like your stuff's so cool. So like I see so much potential, but out of like the larger community, the people that are pretty active, it's really awesome. It's really sweet, and I feel like the Minnesota nice, that I feel like that carries over,
Oh,
especially with the
solid.
artists,
Hmm.
because there really is kind of like a community, and there are a few groups of people. See, I'm trying to do this more with my brand now that I'm growing a bit, but there have been a few groups kind of ahead of me, almost people that have got me into the art scene,
Really, really.
that they've like their intentions were to build that community. So they would have these events where they would host them, and they would have all these artists come in. So like TNFO is one of the names of the groups that really allowed me to get my first foot into the art world, where I it would like they told me I could be in their event
Hmm.
before I had ever painted, like
Wow,
before I had
just super
ever like
inclusive. Be
taken art
like,
serious. Yeah, they were
nice.
just like, "Hey, like some of your stuff looks cool. Like, let's do this. You're in. We need another person." And then I got in, and they were just like so wonderful about it. They started group chat with all the artists, and they're like, "Everyone, introduce yourself, make friends, make connections," and like that to me is super inspiring, because I think like building a community like that is so powerful, and just the amount of connections, and even better, like the amount of friends I've
Hmm.
gotten from just like meeting people in our community, it's seriously so great. So
That's
I'd
fresh.
say it's pretty strong in Minneapolis. I'd say it's kind of small,
Hmm.
but it's a strong small.
I mean, that's all
So
relative
I'm
too,
really
right? Like, if it
of
is what it
course.
is, like the tide will rise everybody that's there. So if you guys are all hustling hard, like
Seriously.
that definitely seems like it's a well-rounded support system.
Seriously, and that's partly what I like. I quite enjoy it being kind of small, actually,
Hmm.
because it's easier to get to know people, and it's easier for the network to grow
Sure.
depth,
Hmm.
since it's small, because it's like, oh my god, like you also worked with that photographer, and that happened to me the other time. Like a guy from my high school is a rapper, and we were pretty close in high school, and
Hmm.
then all of a sudden he worked with this photographer that I worked with, and I'm like, wow, now you guys are connected, and
Yeah,
like
right.
it's super cool to see things like that happen, and I'm actually super inspired by that, and that's one of the things that really drives me, and something that I really want to do with Flavor World is like, I mean, I liked what you said with when the tide rises, everybody goes up. It's
Hmm.
it's exactly like that. Like I hope 5-10 years from now, Minneapolis is pretty solid on the art scene. And I feel like with all the technology and social media we have, there's
Dude,
no,
yeah.
like it gets cold here, so people don't want to live here. But with this
Good place for
technology, you
artists,
don't have to live here.
right?
Exactly, we can just lock up inside and
Scheme all winter
make
and come out
things.
hot for the summer.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I mean, I quite enjoy it here, and I was thinking about moving for a while, but the longer I stay, and like the more I get to know the community and make
Hmm.
connections, like the more I mean, this makes sense. This is just human nature, like
Right,
being
right.
emotionally connected to
Hmm.
your surroundings. But the longer I stay and I get to know people, I'm like, wow, like there's some really talented people here that I want to like try my hardest to put on. Like
Nice. Yeah,
if
yeah.
I can get the Flavor World YouTube, if I can get the Flavor World YouTube page huge, then it's like I just gotta collab with one of these artists, and then they get all this exposure, and it's like That's the coolest thing to me. That's totally what drives me.
Yeah, and I feel like the social media side for art has that ability to really let a local scene or let something what might seem to be small thrive, because you can have eyes from all over still appreciate it at the
Yeah,
same level. Like it's just an
exactly.
online art gallery many a days. So
Exactly, man. One of my favorite video, like music video producers is it's just a guy from a small Wisconsin town. And he'll
solid.
like drive to Minneapolis, film a music video, go back to his small Wisconsin town, and it's like totally like you don't need to be like living in New York. I mean, it helps, and that's a really beautiful thing that I
Hmm.
hope to someday experience, but it's no longer necessary. You don't need to be in the direct physical vicinity
Hmm.
as other artists. You can connect up digitally. Or like there's a guy in it's funny, there's a guy, Yugos Art. He might even listen to this because he's the dude. He's
Right
so
on.
supportive. Um but I believe he's in Nigeria, I believe,
Does he
in
do
Africa. And
like the butterfly screen prints?
Oh no, but I actually feel like I do know who you're talking
Okay, keep
about.
going.
But no, no. This guy does a lot of like digital art, but
Okay, word.
my point is that he's always lived in Africa. I don't know if he's ever been to America,
Hmm.
but he has this like really interesting like grip on my direct art circle.
Oh, weird.
A few people that a few people I know that are rappers have gotten album art from him. Like another person had like this T-shirt design, and like I'm sure he is just grinding in the DMs
That's
or
so
something.
fun. Yeah, yeah.
But
That's
he's
the
just
best
like
part of it
entered
all.
our
Yeah, and it is.
seriously. We're connected up globally.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's like, all right, we're literally have the same interests, and sure enough, doesn't really matter that we're across the world from each other anymore. Like, I attribute that a lot to like I tried to get a couple of my friends into graffiti growing up. Yeah, for months or maybe a year at a time, I could convince somebody to have the same interest as I did, but it really just fell off. And so the internet was always there. There's always somebody on there to chop it up or, give you some advice about what you're working on. So it's like, yeah, you can really find what you need. And granted, it's not next door, but hell, it's good conversation over text or even a Skype call like this. It's like, who cares, like,
Exactly. And I think just like something I've always kind of underestimated is just like the power of DMing someone or just like
sure,
asking a
sure.
question. And
Hmm.
like that was one big thing that really gave me a spark early on with Flavor World was it was way back before like I did anything real, before I like put anything on paper or made
Hmm.
any shirts. And it was just kind of this idea. And I was like, oh, I really like this idea. I keep thinking about it during class. Like,
Hmm.
oh, this and so then I emailed another like a local clothing brand that was, this guy is probably 5, 6 some years older than me, and he had a little more of a operation going. And I just emailed him out of the blue. He ends up sending me back like this novel of an
Oh,
email. I was just like,
solid.
hey, you got any advice? And then
Hmm.
he sends me back everything about like how to price my stuff, how to brand my stuff. He was like, make sure you have this much in overhead and this much in, like all these details. He
Just
just like must have spent hours on. I'm
grandfather
like, what?
knowledge.
Like that is seriously, but it made such a difference in my journey because like
Hmm.
I was like, wow, if this guy that doesn't know me at all can take me serious, then it's like that. I just felt like I could do it. Like after he did that, I was like, it's real. So
I mean, that's the respect I
I don't know.
think
I just
a lot of artists tend to have. I don't think it's so much the culture of like, if I don't get mine, you don't get yours anymore. I think the culture really has come to like,
totally,
look, like we're not doing the same stuff. Like there's nobody else is out here like printing and cutting stickers 7 days a week. It's kind of just my thing. I don't care if it's your thing, but if you want to check it
totally,
out and you like to do it as well, here we are. Let's chop it up and talk about it. Like there's no,
totally.
I'm
And
not fighting anybody out here.
there's enough like room at the top for all of us
For
to like
sure.
have a piece of like some sort of notoriety. But I remember in one of your podcasts with Slew, I think you said that your grandma like emailed you or something and was like, I can't believe you're sharing all your secrets
Yeah,
or something.
literally. She's so old school.
And
She's
like,
just pissed.
yeah, like keep them secret,
You're
like
like,
don't tell it. Yeah, exactly. Like, And like I understand the mindset, and people kind of give that to me too, but like I'm honestly trying to take the exact opposite approach where I'm like
Mm.
I want to share everything. Like
Yep, yep.
I was thinking about making a video series, just like how to like how I started my brand, how
Mhm.
to like, and it's just like if I'm the one giving the advice, anyone that follows the advice is always going to be at least one step behind. So it's like I don't care, like, and
Yeah,
even if
good
they
way to
do
look at it,
pass
yeah.
me, it's like even if they do pass me, it's like, well, then it's well deserved. I don't
Mhm.
like feel bad. Like it was me that like helped spark this talented artist. Like I just I love it. Like giving someone will DM me like, "Hey, you got any tips on my brand?" And I'm like, "Yep,
Sure, I
buckle
can
up."
come
Like
yeah. Whack, whack, whacked up, like
yeah, like I'll just I'll seriously, I mean, and it all comes back to that one guy emailing me all that info because I was like, "That is so cool. That is so
well, yeah,
helpful."
given the time of day
So I
too,
just
it's like, I'll answer every DM that comes my way, whether it's a suggestion for a marker or a suggestion on a style. It's like, if you
mhm,
are reaching out for my opinion, you're gonna get it. Like, I'm happy to share it. You know, I'm happy to talk about this. I still enjoy it plenty to want to chop it up over that. So it is fun to see
that's
how I guess just social the art scene can be now, because historically it is kind of elusive. You're tucked away. You're trying to make sure your stuff cuts ahead of the next person, but it's like people release
yep,
new stuff literally like you every week. I'm not gonna keep up with a t-shirt
yep,
release every week. I'm not gonna keep up with
mhm,
pretending my design is 1,000% original. So I'm just gonna do what I like and plug along my way. And you know, I don't think I think the worry of getting caught up in the fever of like everything's moving so fast totally distracts from like the fun that creativity can have.
absolutely, I completely agree, and a lot of it is also on my end, like, if you have your own individual art style and your own way of going about things, like,
Hmm.
even if I teach the entire world how to screen print or design a sticker, like, it's not gonna look exactly like my screen prints
Right,
or my
right.
stickers, so it's
Hmm.
like, I like, let's all like, I would rather have, like, everybody in the world screen printing. I don't know, it's just
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
it
See
it's
whose
hard
is
to
the
even put
best,
into words, but I I'm just super, like, inspired by inspiring people,
Mhm.
you know,
That's fun.
and that's why I've been, like, one of my one of the things I like the most about my YouTube journey so far is
Hmm.
just, like, having people DM me, like, "Yo, you inspired me to paint again. I haven't painted in a year."
That's a trip right
I
there.
almost cry. Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
"That is so cool." Like, "Yes, go paint and send me what you paint." Like, I
Yeah,
love
dude.
it. Like,
And the creative juices, it's just like I feed off of people that get creative and do their own thing, and it's like if that is inspiration, linearly, and it's like I like the style they did, that's one thing, but so often it's just like the inspiration to be motivated and like get to the finished product of a piece and be like, all right, yeah, I devoted myself to this for 40 hours and I'm happy with how it came out. That the arc and the triumph of doing all that is just so fun to share with people, because the hard work and the hustle that goes into the long hours, and it's like I can respect that this painting did not take 2 minutes. Like there was a lot that went into all of it. So I think just having
yep,
the insider
yep.
knowledge and seeing other people get the same joy from it is just such a fun trade.
Oh, seriously. And especially with like these t-shirt the t-shirt collections I do. It's funny because I'll probably have like 20 like throwaways before I have one that I actually like. So it's
Hmm.
just funny to think like I, that's one thing that really surprised me when I first started doing the t-shirts because that was my first time like publicly showing my art pretty
Okay,
much.
sure, sure.
So it was interesting to see like, oh, like I spent like so much time, so many revisions, so many edits, so
Hmm.
many things that went wrong, so many things that changed, and all the public sees is just the glossy final product.
Hmm.
And that was a really interesting thing. I mean, a lot of that for me was pretty freeing because it helped me think less about the process of getting there. And it's like I found myself with like a finished t-shirt design, and I'm like, oh, what if I would have gone with the iteration 10 earlier,
Mhm.
like just overthinking it, like, oh, what if I didn't change that? But then that really like subsided when I realized like, well, they don't know that that even existed.
Yeah, that's a
They
good
don't
point.
know that
Mhm.
there was another iteration.
Mhm.
They don't know that it could have been anything else.
Yeah.
So it was very freeing for me in that regard.
I like the styling too that YouTube provides a metric to allow you to talk about that too, and it kind of fits.
Hmm.
You can have that struggle and then get to the belly of the whale and then triumph like the crescendo needs to be when you get your final piece in there and it looks real nice, and it's like it is fun to see the trajectory oftentimes. So even with like a very basic speed art that shows the process trajectory, it's fun to see the logic and like mental trajectory too that needs to go through to actually plan a lot of this stuff. So I find it's almost
Yeah.
easy to talk about that too because it's all I'm thinking about while I'm making it half the time. So it makes for casual voiceover where it's like, yeah, I have no idea why this color looks like crap. Let's try four more and see which one looks good. All right, maybe that's why it looks good. I don't know, but but here we are. It's
Yeah, exactly. Showing the process and like showing the mistakes. I
hmm
think I think that's what a lot of people get value from. Just like instead of like if you just go to a museum, you just see these like
right.
beautiful works,
I don't
like
even like
perfect
museums.
everything. Like, everything's just so perfect, and that's beautiful in its own sense, but sometimes it's about the journey, not the
Yeah, for
destination.
sure,
And
for sure.
museums really just kind of show the destination. It's kind of interesting to like yeah, like YouTube really opens that up where now it's like you can watch like an artist at work. You can
hmm
see them find color combos they don't like and how they work through it and how they find the ones they do like. And I mean, I've been loving it pretty much all my life. I've always really wanted to make YouTube videos,
Solid.
but so I'm like endlessly thankful that now I'm getting a little more views because it's just motivating, man. Like, oh
Awesome.
my
Yep.
god, like people actually seeing this,
hmm
like I'm sure you felt something similar because
Oh yeah, it is so much fun to have
you have
something hit.
hundreds of videos.
Dude, I'm
You
clearing up to 1,000 at this point. It's like Jesus.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure just like in the early days, you were posting videos and just like, you know, 20 people were watching them,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, it
Like
was small,
you're just
but I
you're
mean,
probably doing it just
it
for
would.
the sake of making the video.
Yeah, it was a lot just to be able to connect over something that I enjoyed so much, and it's fun to have that because like I said, I couldn't convince any of even my friends to get into it, let alone find somebody in the middle like where I grew up that was also into it. It was just like the odds were only in my favor if I went to the absolute mass, and I just really
Yeah.
that's so enriching too because it's like you have a common ground. It's easy to have conversation over art, whether that's art on a t-shirt, whether that's design critiques of a photo. It's like there's a lot to be had,
Hmm.
and I don't know, I just always love the discussion that comes along with it, and like you said, the story is almost more valuable than the finished thing in my opinion.
Hmm.
Like I don't even buy a
Hmm.
t-shirt now
That's
unless I
super
really feel
interesting.
like I can talk about it at some level.
Yeah, yeah, where there's something to be said about it instead of just looking pretty, I
Right.
guess.
Yeah, like what's your opinion on like the big name brands like Supreme now getting bought out by Vans and like all that, where it was
Yeah,
kind of a
for
subculture and now it's Walmart?
yeah. Do you remember they got bought out for billions of
Yeah, dude,
dollars,
big
like
money.
that blew me away. Um, I got mixed feelings about it because I definitely respect what they do. I mean, I'm super big on brand building. I'm obsessed with like building a brand as like an entity in
Mm-hmm.
itself. Where
Sure.
like when I first started making art, a lot of people were kind of like, because it's just me doing it. Like I do 95% of Flavor World
Mm-hmm.
pretty much, like the actual creation of it. So it was like a lot of people were like, why don't you put your name on it? Why don't you call it your art? And it's like, well, because I don't want to like I don't know. I just loved the concept of building a brand, building an entity separate from me, and like being able to shape it. So
Okay. Yeah,
when
yeah.
I look at Supreme, when I look at Supreme, they really like drive that home for me. They're like the brand of all brands, where
Sure.
they can put Supreme on a brick and
Right.
sell
Yeah.
it for thousands of dollars, and then like it's purely just an emotional thing. Like
Mhm.
there's no logic to buying
Yeah.
a brick from Supreme. It's purely emotional, and that like is so fascinating to me, that like just this concept that, like, a brand is just like this, a piece of art, a concept, that it can have so much of an impact that people will buy a brick for thousands of dollars. Like,
Yeah, it's
so I
just
have so
the
much respect for them, but they've definitely grown pretty far from their roots,
mm,
something like Supreme.
sure.
So I don't think I'll ever want to be um bigger than Louis Vuitton
Mm,
type of brand,
okay. Yeah, yeah.
but I really do respect what they do, and I think it's quite interesting, honestly.
Yeah, it's crazy
I
to
think
see
above
what the
all, I'm fascinated.
yeah, they've taken a culture, right, around not only their icons, but their reselling and all that. And it's like you can't knock it because that's the trajectory it went on. It got so popular that it
Hmm.
was more popular than once. You had to rebuy it at a higher price point, and it is a weird arc for something that was at one point just almost exclusivity, right? Wasn't didn't they start as like
Hmm.
you can't even get the shirt, let alone a store that has it, and then they slowly started releasing very limited things. So it's like I don't knock the
Hmm.
trajectory either. It's like what were they going to do? Say no and let the brand die, or are they going to say yes? I'm ready to retire. Um, but it is so wild to see that like it's mainstream now. It once was a subculture. People identified with it at such a core level. They were literally willing to buy bricks. It's like it's
Yeah,
wild. It's
yeah.
wild to see it just take on literally something that was so far from its core to begin with. Like it wouldn't be where it is today without that core, and that where it is today is nothing like the core that it was. Like just almost polar opposites.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, I mean, it's interesting to me. I actually, have you ever heard of the Hundreds, the clothing
Yeah,
brand, the
for sure.
Hundreds?
Yeah, yeah.
I I had such an awesome opportunity. I actually got to Skype call with Bobby Hundreds, Bobby Kim, the
Dang,
guy that
nice.
started that company, because I had just finished reading his book,
Um,
and he just tweeted. I opened up my phone,
this
and
guy,
like magic, he had, no way! Oh my God,
dude,
you have it
I
right
I
there.
bought it for Christmas. I'm about halfway through. Let's get it,
What? You have it on your desk, the book
dude.
I'm
Let's
talking about.
chop it
That's
up. Let's
bizarre.
chop it up. I'm
That
almost.
is bizarre. That is so bizarre. Well, anyways, I just finished that book, and I mean I loved it. I also got it for Christmas. I
Solid. There you
loved it.
go.
I mean, just because it spoke, I mean, it spoke like my journey, like just starting a clothing brand from nothing and
Sure.
working with your friends. And he just writes all about it. And I was like super fascinated. But anyways, I finished the book, and just like magic, I go on Twitter, and he just tweeted like 5 seconds ago, like,
Whoa.
hey, we're doing this thing on the Hundreds TV. Like, anyone want to hop on a call? I'm like,
Yeah, get
me.
me, get
And
me.
he, yeah, exactly. And so it actually worked out. But one of the things I asked him was, because in his book, he talks about how once his brand grew really large,
hmm
he had a lot of, like, a lot of the early supporters kind of grew angry about it growing large. They kind of got
Sure.
resentful,
hmm
where they're like, it's not what it used to be,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah. A little
like they
angsty.
it
Yeah.
like when it was, when it was the early days and they were the only ones that knew about it, it felt so special. But now
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
knows about
hmm
it, and so I asked him, because I mean, I have interest. Like, what I said to him was like, I want to do both. Like, I want to grow into a big brand,
hmm
but I never want to lose the community of like true supporters and the people that were here early, and my friends, and like the
Right,
Minneapolis
right.
art community. So I was like, is it like, with your knowledge, with your experience, is do you think it's possible to do both?
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
And one thing he said was that it's not, it like, he was like, think about what you want it to be, what you want to do. It doesn't, I loved this quote. He said, it doesn't have to be for everybody. It
Hmm.
just has to be for somebody. So it's
Okay.
like,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
find your community. And the way he kind of described it was like, you could find 100 people that every year they each buy $100 worth of clothing.
Hmm.
So like solid customers, you have this tiny community. And how much money is that? Is that $10,000? I think so.
100 by 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wrote it. I think that's $10,000. So you could either have that, or there's the other option of you could have 1,000 people spend $10. So it's
Yep.
like, they're different. Like either way, the business would be pulling in the same amount of money.
Hmm.
But one of them is this large community of kind of more half-ass supporters, and the
Yeah.
other one
Kind of
is
treading
this
water.
tighter
Hmm.
community of people that like love you. So it's just like, you got to find what you want to do, where your balance is. And that's kind of what I think about with the comments on Supreme, where it's like, they are this massive brand. They're like pretty much for everybody
Yeah. At
at
this
this
point.
point. I
Yep.
mean, like,
Yep.
everybody knows. Like, they don't have like a smaller niche community anymore. They started like New York skate scene, and
Yeah.
that was their somebody. And
Hmm.
they really spoke to some people.
Like
But
if
now
you,
they're for everybody.
yeah, if you wear that shirt, chances are you pass somebody that knows exactly what it is.
Oh yeah,
There's no hidden note to it. Yeah, I thought his book's
exactly.
so
So
far pretty good. I definitely sense his layering there with the community stuff. Definitely heavy on
mhm.
the, started from sneaker culture, loved being an accessory to that, and then built the culture from there as like, look, we're the guys that are a side piece to sneaker culture, but we're doing it just as hard. Love our stuff just the same. So I definitely respect
Yep.
the trials that he's gone through for that. And it does seem like he's a
Mhm.
super super genuinely involved guy that once again would love to chop it up over the psyche of the process and all that. So
Totally, yeah. And he's, kind of on that same mindset of what we were saying about just the art community in general
mhm.
lately, where he was like, I heard him say once, just like, if I can, talk to, like, I think someone asked him once in a different Skype call that I watched of his, they were like, how, like, why do you do this or something?
Mhm.
He's like, if I can just talk to one person and like inspire them to do more, like, that's all it takes for me to
Yeah,
be
that's special.
satisfied. And
That is
that's
cool.
super special. And like, it takes, like, it's interesting because he's, very successful in his own, niche of commercial real real estate, I
Oh yeah,
guess,
yeah, yeah.
where he's been very successful with his clothing line. So it's just interesting to see people like that then desire strongly to give back to
I don't know what it
young, smaller seeds.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either, but like I never have had a 100 shirt, never bought anything from them. But damn well I didn't forget the icon after the first time I saw it. Like I don't-
Hmm.
it they whether it's strong iconography or it's like just genuinely like a sick design, it's like they have an aesthetic that really complemented their work and they definitely hit the nail on the head with that. So it's one of those two that's like even me as a window shopper, it's like I knew exactly who it was after I found out the first one, and then I think shortly after one of like my local shops collabed with them, and it was just like, oh, weird. I thought they were a huge brand, and I kind of got second thoughts, be like,
Mm.
why are they collabing with this small shop that does like 20 T-shirts and fake Gucci scarves? I was like, huh. But whatever, like it is what it is, and it was just kind of that weird flip of like I guess he was that devoted to the community that now coming to find out that he was like, yeah, I'm willing to collab with anybody that's a local sneaker shop doing stuff, and it's like that's powerful. That's powerful. So granted, it was really conversation based, making stories out of something that I could just see on the side and still respect pretty heavily.
Absolutely. And I think, like, I mean, I've been obsessed, as I kind of tried to make clear earlier, with like the helping others, teaching others, that
Sure, sure.
inspiring
Hmm.
others. Like I really, that's like a really foundational part of what I want to do. And part, so much of it is because like it feels amazing. Like, I think it's so cool to see that happen, but
Hmm.
it goes without saying even that, like, it also is a very effective, like, tool for growth
Yeah,
because, like, Bobby Kim, he did that Skype call with me, and I will remember it for the rest of my life. I
literally,
will
like,
mention like I'm mentioning that call on this podcast. Like, I talk about it to my friends. Like, him just doing that simple 30-minute like action for me, like, is it did so much for me, which is what he wanted, but it'll
mhm.
also do a lot for him and his brand because I can't stop
Right,
talking about it.
right,
So
right. And I'm sure he has good interest to it, right? He's not just doing that for the good publicity that the 25 people that hear this,
exactly,
you
but
know, but that's the
seriously,
thing.
but
It's
that's
like
the
tell your
best.
friends, it's like good people surround themselves with good people. So I love that too about
Exactly, and that's the best part of it is, like, if you can find something that, like, is genuinely good for the world and
mm,
it also helps you, it's like, well, that's you should double down on that,
for
you know?
sure. Yeah,
And
dude.
so that's kinda what I feel with inspiring people through YouTube and Instagram DMs. It's like, well, I love to do it, I love to see you paint, and it also, like, makes you think more highly of Flavor World, and
Yeah,
that is,
for
like,
sure.
everything I want in life is those 3 things,
And now
so
we're kind of friends. We can get into
yeah, exactly,
that.
exactly. I actually like, a couple of people that have DM'd me, I've been talking to for, like, 2 months now,
Right on, yeah.
just, like, talking about art,
I talk
and,
to you
like,
more
that's
than the
so
people
cool.
I hang out with. Like, gee.
Literally, literally, I'm friends with someone in London now, and it's, like, out in it's, like, cool.
Yeah,
I'm just making these friends. It's truly a beautiful thing.
dude, yeah, like I love it. I was in I don't show my face on any of my videos, but I had like a hoodie on at an airport once, and I'm like just finishing up eating, and some kid walks by. He's like, "Yo, man, I love that YouTube channel." I'm like, "Oh yeah, you want some stickers, kind of thing?" And he's just like triple takes, and he's like, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah, dude, that's my design. That was a fun one to make, kind of thing." And it was like, this
Oh
is
my
as cool as it
god.
gets, because it's like, yeah, I respectfully try to keep my anonymity, but it's like, no, at the end of the day, it's like you like stickers enough to recognize this. Hell yeah, like, give me your address, and I'll send you a fat pack. Like,
Oh, that is so cool. He probably, like, heard your voice or something and was like,
maybe,
"Wait a
yeah,
second."
triple take. Dude, but that's the
No,
best part of it
seriously.
is like, obviously, like, if you're willing to like or not willing to, but if you are able to recognize something that I've done, you're like, clearly I mess with you. Like, I'm totally down with, showing support back to people that have helped, let me do my thing, because it
Yeah,
doesn't come
it's
easy,
why you're there, you know? People buying your stickers, people buying your shirts, people watching your videos, like, it's the sport that got you there, so
For
it's only,
sure.
like, a compassionate, loving human thing to do to show it back. I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's awesome.
I feel so obligated now to be like, I'm working, and so I got like money to buy a T-shirt from a YouTuber that I follow, and it's like, all right, I know how much that value add is to me. I can go respect somebody I've watched for the last 5 years and buy their T-shirt that they just put out. It's like
Mhm.
my 30 cents in ad
Yep.
revenue I gave to them is nothing. Let's give them $20 cash. Like, definitely, like, just goes tenfold. It's like the ecosystem here is like, all right, I can show support to people that are equally adding entertainment to my life. Like, I give Netflix $10 a month. I think I can give somebody 25 for the hours and hours of
Yeah.
YouTube I watch. Like,
Yeah, seriously, I mean, that's a great way to put it because YouTube is this awesome free platform, and I feel like that's why we see a rise in, like, Patreon lately.
yeah, for
Is that sort
sure.
of thing is people just, like people have that same logic where it's like, "Oh, I, like, buy Netflix every month, I should support these creators," or
Yeah, it's
I don't know,
wild too. It's like,
it's an awesome thing that people wanna give like that.
yeah, I won't knock like the outcome that YouTube has. Like, obviously, I super support the fact that people don't have to pay anything and they can kind of support you in a
Mhm.
means of watching it. And obviously, my content's not a movie, so I don't demand you pay for it because it's not worth being paid for. But it's like, hey, the $4 you spend on a sticker pack like actually goes a lot further than you'd think. Like, 10 people do
Yep,
that, all of a sudden, I've got $50 to go paint a mural. Like, let's do it. Like,
yep.
now some
Yep.
money comes in, so I can add more to it. Like, it's addicting to have that grind too, because it's like you give what you get too. So the more I can spend doing this, the more I can feel rewarded with, like, or justifying, dropping big money on roller paint or sticker materials,
Absolutely. Keeping the art cycle going, the
Yeah,
art alive.
throw something in the mix and not be so worried about the gamble that it might present. It's just lets you go more back to the artist mode of like, if I could do anything, what would I choose to do next, kind of thing.
Hmm. No, exactly. And that's super cool because it's super fun to put money into art,
Hmm.
but it's a lot easier to put money into art than it is to get
Yeah,
money out of art,
dude.
you
If
know?
I've profited over
So
every T-shirt I've made in my life, that is might be a lie. Like, wasted probably way more than I've brought back in, but it's been fun. So paid for some entertainment by myself.
exactly. And just, that people are out there wearing your shirts like with your
That's
stickers and
fun,
all that.
yeah.
That's so fun. Like it's super cool to think.
And dude, I try to
Yeah,
rip
so
everybody
it's
else's
super
stuff as hard
nice.
as I can too. And I'm sure you do. Like you said,
Hmm.
with everybody in your local scene, it's like, I'm gonna be your biggest fan because why not? Like I see the effort you're
You got
putting
to.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the best when like someone's repping your stuff and you're repping theirs, and
Mm.
it's just like such a good feeling. Like
Oh,
when
for
you're
sure.
genuinely friends with someone and they genuinely like what you're making. It's
Yeah.
like
It's good
so
cosign.
awesome.
A
So
good cosign.
exactly. So and like having people I actually like what I make, it really has driven me that anytime I I share a lot more compliments now than I
Oh,
used to
solid. Right,
because it's
right.
just like or like or just financial support, but a lot
Hmm.
of what I'm thinking of is like musicians in my area where it's like if there's a local rapper you like or
Hmm.
someone that you know 200 plays on Spotify and you like the song, it's like you gotta tell them that
Yeah,
you
for
like the
sure. Yeah,
song.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it goes such a long way. Like you gotta like show that verbal support, and
Yeah,
add
the
it to your
steam.
playlist. Like it's truly, I don't know, it's awesome, and that's again the power of social media lately is that we can support other people like
Hmm.
across the country, across the world. We can show that love and support both financially and exposure wise. Super cool.
Any new trends on kind of the art or creative scene that you've been eager on? Anything that's
That's a
catching
good
your eye
question.
lately? I feel like we're almost in a
Well,
little bit of a lull. I haven't seen anything that's like really sparked me recently.
yeah, I feel that. See, I was pretty much going to say the last thing for me was tufting. I'm
Okay,
still kind of in my I'm
in
still
the
kind of
zone.
in my rug
Hmm.
making exploration.
Solid, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting because I've been having like a ton of ideas of things outside of like literal rugs on the floor that you
Hmm.
can make. So, like making massive patches for clothing
Oh,
or
word.
even like fuzzy texture for
Hmm.
paintings or I had this I'm gonna do this for like a YouTube video in just a couple weeks here or something. I'm totally gonna do it. It's like a flower vase, like a cylinder vase where you like
Cool.
tuft. It's like a fuzzy vase. I think
Nice.
that's so cool.
That's fresh.
um, so I've been exploring the depths of rug making lately. I don't know,
Yeah, I feel like a
and
lot of the
that's
tufting stuff is like almost texture based. You get that mild 3D look to a
oh
lot of
yeah,
it anyway, so it's like definitely adds a lot of value to the design just instantaneously with that. Do you have to like
absolutely.
is there crazy different qualities to the actual yarn, or can you get away with just bare
Oh,
bone essential stuff?
dude, I buy with pretty much all the art I do, I buy the cheapest of the cheap
Solid,
for
solid.
every corner. I do not have that much money in my life right now. Like I said, it's much easier to put money into art than
Right,
it
right.
is to
Then
get money out.
re-extract.
Yeah. But thankfully with tufting, I've found that like a lot of the I guess cutting corners that I
Hmm.
do, not it's not even that though, but like the cheaper materials can work as well as the higher
Oh, that's
end stuff.
awesome. Yeah.
But but even more so, it's been blowing my mind, like the price difference. Like
Oh
the
wow.
the professional level tufting cloth
Hmm.
is like $30 or $40 for a yard of it, which is a very
Whoa.
expensive fabric.
Yeah. What makes
Like
it so much
30 or 40.
better? Like, doesn't it all
I
get
don't
covered
know.
up?
I don't know.
Like-
Yeah, yeah, it all gets covered. I mean, I've used it. It is a little better. It works a little better. It handles a little better. It doesn't rip as easy.
Okay.
But with a big but
Asterisk.
comma in there, yep. I use burlap, which is like $3 a yard, so 10 times cheaper. 10, like
Solid.
I'm saving like 30, $40 a rug.
Yep.
And it works like 95% as well. So I'm like,
So yeah,
that
what's the trade
money
there?
saving, like I'm gonna do it. Like
Yeah.
I mean, and that's one thing like I want to do with YouTube is like, because all of the other tufting YouTubers right now, a lot of them have like a sponsorship deal
Whoa.
with
Okay.
a website that
Hmm.
sells
Sure, they
the
get a
tufting
kickback.
cloth.
Yep. Yep.
Yes, so they push that super expensive
Hmm.
cloth because every time they sell some, they get a few dollars. So
Yep.
they're like, "Yeah, go buy that, go buy
Of
that."
course, right?
But
Everybody
I'm
gets that.
exactly, and so like I'm gonna shake up the tufting community, man.
DIY
I'm
till you
gonna go the
die.
other route. I'm gonna go up on the video screen and say burlap,
Yeah.
acrylic yarn, all the cheap.
Go get
Like
the
this
potato
works.
sack
Don't spend.
company to sponsor you. He's like, this is
Yeah,
recycled too.
that's actually not a bad idea. Like
Yo,
find
Lay's,
some
where's your
burlap
sponsor at?
manufacturers. That'd be so sick.
Yeah, that
But
would be
seriously, so
legendary.
I'm just trying to like inform people that like
Oh, for
you can do it
sure.
cheaper.
Dude,
Because like
so much of it
so
is
much
the
of the
skill,
barrier
you
is the
know?
money.
Yeah. Oh, always with art, you know? It's like you can go buy $9
Mhm.
Copic marker or not. Like I've never bought one
Yeah.
ever. Like I just can't justify that. Like
Yeah. No, exactly. So yeah, so I use acrylic yarn, which is so it's the cheapest yarn. And when it
solid.
comes to knitting, like if
Mhm.
if you're knitting a sweater, don't use acrylic because it's kind of like itchy on the
Sure.
skin.
Mhm.
But when it's a rug on the floor,
You might
that
not even
itch
know.
is
Yeah. You got socks, right?
completely negligible. Yeah, you won't know. Even without your socks, I don't think you'd even feel it. So it's like when it comes to rugs, that yarn is perfect from my point of view,
That's
my current
solid.
position.
Yeah, I
Yeah, no, I love cutting the corners,
I think I
man.
even saw
Doing the
some dude that
cheapest route.
was selling his own tufting gun. I was like, that seems like a serious investment right there. I was like, but hey, your hustle's
Yep.
your hustle. Like I sell blank stickers so people can draw on them. I'm not gonna knock you if you're selling the gun that people use to actually make the art, you know?
Yep, exactly. No, see, I actually looked into that a bit because I was curious too. Because there's this guy on especially TikTok. He has a huge following, and he's
Okay.
transferring to YouTube now. And I've noticed that he sells the guns, but he looks young. He looks like my age,
Hmm.
and
Where's
so
your
I'm like,
warehouse?
I'm like, yeah, I'm like, how are you doing this? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But I actually looked into it, and there are a few places online that like wholesale these tufting guns
Sure,
where
AliExpress
they'll
and all.
they'll
Yeah.
sell them, yeah, that sort of thing, where they'll
Yeah.
sell them to you for like 60% what the rest of the market is
Hmm.
charging. So then you can just and so he must be doing that. He must have
Sure.
just bought a bunch and
Yeah.
like
Hell, I
and
looked into spray
I'm not
paint
gonna.
at that level. I was like, how much would
Oh
it cost
really?
me to get a pallet of spray paint? Okay, twenty
Oh,
thousand
that'd be
dollars.
sick.
And I was like, that's a lot of spray paint. That sounds pretty nice. And it's like, all right, so how much would I have to sell in order to get my cut of this? And it's like, after all, I was like, I don't even know how to ship spray paint. This is a lot. Like, it's an explosive material. Like, what does that even include? It's like,
Seriously.
not that I ever had
Where
floor
do you
space
where do
for
you
it.
like store that?
Right, right. Does it have to be climate controlled? Do I have to keep it in AC, or can I just shove
Yeah.
it in a shipping container and leave it out back? Like,
Yeah. And in my head, I'm envisioning this like freak accident where like
right.
a stray bullet or something comes through your garage door and
It's just
shatters
all
like
of
a
it's dead.
thousand cans of spray paint.
Well, well, well. That was a waste.
Yeah, that's interesting. No, I think the buying in bulk thing is is quite interesting. At one point in my life, I was eating a lot of beans because they're
Solid.
nutritious and
Yeah, they
cheap,
get you there.
and
Yeah.
I was like, what if I bought like beans in bulk? And I
Yeah.
looked it up, and
How
like
much could I
the
save?
this dude, I could save like I found out I could save like 95% like money. Like it
Whoa,
was like
it's that big of a
95%
markup?
cheaper.
Like, damn.
Yeah, no, like huge. But the catch is that you had to buy like a ton,
Sure,
like a
literally 2,000
literal
pounds.
ton. Yeah, yeah, like you had to buy so many beans. And so it was funny for like a day. I was like hitting up my friends, like,
Like,
you
all
want to
right, how
throw down
much
on
you
some beans?
group buy, everybody in.
Yeah. Everybody's just like, what? I'm not gonna pitch in for
Yeah, dude, I'm good.
400 pounds of beans.
Dude,
They're like, what?
I don't know if it's an artist in me or whatever, but just like mass pattern repetition, literally whether it's like beans like across a tabletop, it's like something of that is pleasing where you see like the same shape over
Mm,
and over and the same aesthetic, whether it's tiling or what do they call it, tessellations, where the same pattern like repeats and links up into itself. It's like that stuff always catches my eye. So I don't know if that's why I wanted 20,000 cans of paint or why I can get on board with $20,000 of beans, but it's like, hell, that's all cool by me. Like,
uh, seriously. Well, that reminds me of uh, I can't remember exactly his name. I think it's Woo Wee maybe. He's an artist, and he did this like a million sunflower seeds or something.
whoa,
He had
cool,
like
cool.
a million like a crazy number of
Hmm.
sunflower seeds that were all just like, I think they're all hand painted. I don't think they're actually sunflower seeds. I
Oh,
think they're little like
whoa.
ceramic things, but
Dang.
they were all painted. And so it's just that like kind of what you're saying with all the cans of spray
Hmm.
paint or all the beans, where it's just like, even though each sunflower seed wasn't like that cool of a piece of art,
Sure,
it was
yeah. Just
something about having a million of
just
them
the
is like,
glutton in
oh
you.
my
Yeah. It's
God.
like,
Yeah.
it's got to be some
Like
human
you
nature
really
thing. It'd be
dig
like, look at this harvest that I have. Like, check me out, kind of thing. And it's just like that's so
that. Yeah.
pleasing.
Oh, true.
Like, there's got to be some
Just deep in our
caveman. Yeah,
evolution.
right. Caveman natural right there.
That's so funny. Well, if in a month or so from now you see me on Instagram with a literal ton of beans,
I'll know where it came from.
I'll blame it on the evolutionary track.
I had to do it. I just couldn't get myself away from
That's so funny, actually. Yeah, just like I have the most bountiful
Yeah,
harvest
right.
of
It's got to be
beans.
kind of like that. Come on. Like, you like to see a bunch
Seriously,
of
it's
spray
just
paint
times have
cans lined up.
changed so much.
Right. We just,
Yeah,
you get all your
I can
social
just buy
credit
it
now.
online instead of
Right.
actually harvesting it. Oh, that's the funniest thing.
Hey, we got to find our social credit where we can add value to the tribe.
Yeah, seriously, maybe that's my next like art installation, or my next art like trend, because I'm not gonna do tufting forever. I'm not gonna
Right,
make
right.
rugs forever, because
Hmm.
I'm passionate about just like making things in
Hmm.
general. Like it might be woodworking next month, and then after that, bean
Sure. Find
installation.
something with it. I mean, you can get dry beans, right? And they say those cook better. So, hell, you
Yeah.
paste ups with them.
Well, if I'm to be honest, if I'm buying a ton of beans, I kind of hope they're dry.
Yeah,
I don't know
right.
how I would.
Keep
I don't have
that
a
many
fridge that
cans.
big.
That's good.
It's so funny.
Dude, there's this guy that used to make
Wow.
stickers that had his character as a bean, and it was literally clean. Like it was
Oh,
solid, and it
really?
was like, all right, I could get with this. Like just a simple little brown kidney bean. It was like, hey, dude, a character's a character. Like, gotta respect it when it's got some style to it, and it's just a little bean with two arms. Like,
Oh, that's so fun. And sometimes the characters are super memorable. I mean, especially if it's like a little bean. I mean,
hmm, yeah, dude, I'm trying to
do
do
you
something.
have any sort of character in your
Not
art at
yet.
all?
I've been trying to focus on it a little bit now, messing around with some stuff, just trying to get a little bit more expressive with it because I so often think that get lost with like just letters. It's like I respect these because I like their styling, but I don't know, to a lot of people it's just a shape. You know, they don't really dig in or can't read it if it's too elaborate. So I'm trying to pick something
Mhm.
that's a little bit more approachable, and I don't know, got a couple styles in the works, but nothing that's super
So
unique
you're
just yet.
thinking like a character would be more approachable?
Yeah, I think so. A little bit, obviously easier to interpret. A smile and some big
That's true.
eyes. It's a little bit more common spread between. Not that language barrier is a big selling point, but just more natural. And I always envy the
Mhm.
fact that people can make an icon out of just a character or a drawing. So I value that, and I don't think I've really explored that too well in trying to do something more branded in that respect, that is repetition, it's relatable, and that you can see that it is similar to the last, but it might stand on its own just fine. Uh, so I think I'm going to
Totally.
challenge myself with that, because a lot of sticker stuff and graffiti is design. It's not much. There
Oh
is
yeah.
creative areas to it, but I have the structure of a letter that I'm following. It's not like I'm putting something into the ether for the first time. So it's something that I think I'll challenge myself with. And historically, not great at them, but hell, I can't expect to do it if I don't practice. So maybe there's something to be had
Yeah,
there.
that's just totally. That's just growing as an artist, like even if you draw a character that you don't like you still
Mhm.
drew something.
Yeah, right.
That's I don't know, that's cool. But I definitely notice like in the at least around me, I think, you know, the United States as a whole, I feel like the tagging scene is very like letter based, and I
Hmm.
I think there's like definitely some really awesome beauty to that because it's like a set of bounds. Like
Hmm.
there's infinite ways you can write a word.
Yeah,
There's
yeah, limit.
infinite ways you can write each letter. And
Hmm.
actually I was thinking that with you did a letter tutorial on like the letter D I
Sure,
saw,
sure. Yeah, yeah.
and I didn't watch the whole thing, but it was like 30 minutes long or
It was like,
something, and
how
like
could there be
that's
this
so
much?
crazy. But, like, you can talk about writing the letter D for 30
Dude, and
minutes,
I
like,
cut I cut
so
out a solid half hour. There was an hour I sat there and promise.
seriously, and so I think there's a lot of, like, beauty to that, just how much can be created in
Hmm.
just the letters, but I've always been, like I think it's cool when someone does do a character with
Hmm.
their tag or
Yep.
like a graphic-based tag, like, I remember just a couple years ago here in Minneapolis, there's one guy that I mean, I don't know who it was, but I've seen his just out of nowhere. He must have woke up one morning and
Just
just
went
decided
crazy.
he was gonna cover the city,
Nice.
and it's like these 2 eyes. It's this very, like, sweeping. It's just 2, like, lines, and they look like eyes,
Hmm.
and he just did them everywhere, and I was, like, amazed by it because I thought it was so cool that it didn't say a word,
Hmm.
but it's, like, was
Spoke
this
to you still.
picture. It was, like, one of the first times I really saw someone, like, do, like, a graphic-based
Hmm.
tag instead of a letter-based thing, and I
Yeah,
was like,
it's
"That's
it's
pretty
weird.
unique," like.
I don't. It's captivating though. Like you said, it really caught your eye originally. So I don't know if it's just
Mhm,
the nature of it. Graffiti being the more traditional form, and that's why people get out and go risk it. Are character
mhm,
artists really that like secluded, a step back, that they don't want to go out there and get their name out there? Because you do see it.
interesting.
So I don't know if it's the personality that's the little limit there, but too, there is so much graffiti here in Denver. None of it's character based. It's all throw ups
Mhm,
and pieces. So it is odd to see that there is
mhm.
such a hard line between you know people that are willing to go do it for the risk and people that are willing to do it and show a smiley face. Like, why don't they cross paths? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, seriously. Well, yeah, I mean, I think it probably largely comes down to just the individual artist's style because
Sure.
there's so many reasons why people create art or like why someone goes
Hmm.
tagging. Like, I'm sure some people do it 100% for the thrill of it. I'm sure
Hmm.
some people do it 100% for the art of it.
Yep.
I'm sure there's some people that do it 100% because they want to
For
see
the
their
angst.
stickers worldwide
Yeah,
or like,
yeah.
like there's so many reasons why someone could go out. So but I mean, that's just why, like, I don't know. I don't think it should change. Like, I don't want to see less letter graffiti. I mean, I'm
Sure,
just like
sure.
very pro street art. Like,
Yeah,
one of
yeah,
the
of
saddest
course.
things for me is when you see a city worker painting over
Oh, gee,
graffiti
yeah.
with like gray paint. It's so sad, man. Like,
Dude,
it's just like,
Denver doesn't let
I don't
that
know.
stuff fly. The way I drive to work, they buff it every other week probably. The next day, people are out
Uh,
there just covering it again. It's like they
oh
won't let
yeah,
the city win. It's like sure enough, people are in there doing like just hollow throw ups, so it's fast and they're not hanging out to do a big piece. But when those
yeah,
2 weeks kind of roll over, you'll see more and more get built up on the wall, and it's like literally so much better than this beige color. Like, come on, let
yeah,
like
exactly.
I get
And
it. It's like a
if it
dangerous spot.
wasn't illegal, like
Literally, yeah. And then there's
if it
this
wasn't
one.
illegal, people would spend time on the pieces and
Hmm.
really like make them something cool too.
And then
I think it's all messed up.
not a quarter mile away, same side of the tracks, there's another wall that's a little bit more secluded, so people take their time there, and it's like really decent productions with two or three guys that show up, and it's like literally this could be this entire stretch of highway, and it could be so nice, but I don't know. It's one of those that it's like you couldn't have the city really let you do it because then how are they going to police who gets to do it and when, and how are they going to keep people from getting hit by the trains? It's like I get that, but gee, like I don't know. They got to have a public space
Yeah,
along the
I
highway
mean,
that
there's
people
there's
can
definitely
use.
some sort of there's definitely some sort of line to draw. I don't think like people should be allowed to come up and tag my car or
Yeah,
like
I'd
you
prefer
know
not.
but I think it's just it's very sad how many like gray walls there
Hmm.
are. It's like even if it's not going to be people tagging and you just leave it up,
Hmm.
like hire some kid for $100 to paint a mural. Like we
Yeah,
just, I don't know,
dude,
there
I'd do
should
it
just
for
be more
free.
art.
Like,
I'll do it for, I
right?
have done it for free, you know, I'll
Yeah.
do murals anywhere.
Yeah, same.
Seriously, and like I feel like there's always someone that will do that, so it's like it's sad to see these gray walls, but
Yeah, I wonder if that'll change
it
with
makes me
time.
think.
But
Hopefully I can help change it.
yeah, I'm
I
willing
guess.
to. Yeah, I'm curious if that'll stick because that not that the generation before us didn't have that same request, but it's like you know, painting means and durability and quality are probably in every city at this point. Everybody can get a good brand of spray paint.
Mhm.
Everybody, there's a good artist everywhere. So why not have someone do some local stuff and feed back into the community? Because like it's an ultra
Totally.
win. Like you pay the local kid to paint it. It gives him some money in his pocket for art. Gives the city something a little bit brighter to look at. Like I don't think anybody really loses. So what if?
Yes, I mean, absolutely. This all makes me think of, do you know the artist David Choe?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He he does a lot of like street art sort of things, but
Mm-hmm.
I remember hearing somewhere in an interview because he did a lot of like tagging and like huge street art pieces. Like on the LA highway, he
Yeah,
would hop out of
LA,
his
right?
car
Yeah.
in traffic and do
Is
like
he?
one of those big like fire extinguisher
Yes. Yeah,
things
yeah, yeah.
and
I think I've seen the video of him hopping out of the pickup, like.
yep, that's
Like-
what I'm thinking of. But excuse me. Anyways, I remember hearing in an interview once that, they were like the interviewer asked him why do you do that? It just gets covered. And
Mhm.
and one thing he said was like, well, he was like, I could either, work my ass off and someday maybe get a painting in a gallery and the gallery is open for, a weekend and 5,000 people come through and see it. And he's like, that I could do. Or I could just pull up in LA traffic, paint it, and 10,000 people will see it by the end of the day
Immediately,
or
yeah.
something. And he's like, even though it gets covered and destroyed in, a couple days or a week, he's like, it's just like the sheer volume of people that will see it is much higher.
Yeah,
And that was
that's
really interesting
crazy.
to me. I never thought about it from that angle, honestly.
Yeah,
Where
on
it's like if
on
you just want quantity of people to see your work, it's like, yeah,
spam
go
it,
do a
right?
stunt like that.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, I catch myself being like protective where it's like, well, I want to keep this for my own self. But it's like, what am I going to keep it and stow it away in a book and a binder and it's going to be in a
Hmm.
closet? Like Sure, it'll be nice to recall flipping through that in 10 years, but it's like that's really not the ethos of the art that I like to make. It's like so much is give out and see what you get back kind of thing. So, you know,
Yeah.
I'm not out there risking my neck painting stuff illegally, but it's like still it's nice to be able to like just let it be, and if it gets pulled down tomorrow or 10 seconds later, I got a photo and maybe it made the next person smile and maybe it made them upset and they pulled it down, but whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's the thing about art. It's totally, subjective. Like
mhm.
people will make of it whatever they want. But
Yeah, like
yeah, I
really,
mean,
a sticker can get pulled down the moments after I put it up, and it's whatever. Like I didn't make it in hopes that it lasted the 9 years like my best one has. It's like that not everyone will last 9 years, so that's not the story to be told. It's like, no, I tried to make everyone last, and I've got one after 1,000 that's there. Like, odds are not in my favor,
yeah,
but we'll keep at it.
exactly. Have you ever been like confronted for putting a sticker? Like, has anyone seen you in the act and
um,
called you out?
I had some lady whine at me, but nothing like, no, nothing that would be of noteworthiness. Like, some lady was like, hey, it was on like a post office bin, so she was like, "Hey, that's federal property," and it's like, "Is that all you got? Like, it's
Oh.
blue. Like, come on!" Like, now it has a nice little sign on the side of it. It's like, and then half the time too, it's
Yeah.
like the timing that it takes to put up a sticker is 0 seconds and 10 seconds to take the photo. So it's like the odds that anybody's around and says anything to you, because it's like you're still kind of the guy in the night, like that no one's really talking to you if
Yep.
you're actively doing something that's against the grain. Like, yeah,
Yep. Even in the middle of the day, you can put
right,
a sticker up
so
pretty
casually.
pretty stealthy.
Yeah, and two, there
Yeah.
it's so non vandalism that it's like, what are you gonna ask me to take the sticker down? Okay,
Yeah, it's like
I'll
I'll peel
climb
it
back
off for
up.
you
Like,
then.
I'm not gonna get in a fight over this. But no, I don't
Yeah.
think
No,
anybody
I
really
I
takes
remember
offense
that
to it.
when I first started, like, putting stickers around, I because at first I didn't even think about it as, like, vandalism. It just
Sure,
didn't even
sure.
cross my mind because I was like, "Oh, I'm just, like, putting art around."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it wasn't even I didn't even think about the stigma behind it, but then it crossed my mind one day, and I was like, "Oh my god." But that fear didn't last long because I was like, okay, worst case scenario, the cop, catches you in the
Mhm.
act and is like, yo, that's vandalism. It's like, okay, you're right, and just peel it
Yeah.
right off, and
Like,
then
you
we're
don't have to be
good to
a
go,
jerk to the
hopefully.
guy that's trying to catch you either. It's like,
Yeah,
obviously I'm respecting the fact that I'm not putting it on the front of a stop sign, not trying to obscure what needs to be done on the roadway, but
yeah,
backside's free and it's silver. Come on, that looks nice. Like, let's put some
yeah.
color in this.
No, exactly, and that's like what we were saying about the gray walls in the
Yeah,
cities.
it's the
It's
same
like
deal.
I'm not gonna go paint a mural on a government, you know, big beautiful the
The f-
Capitol
yeah,
building
the
or
front of the
whatever. Like,
FDA. Like, come on.
let me paint a mural on the gray wall on the side of the post office, or
Yeah.
like I feel like there are plenty of good ways to get more art out in the world, and I feel like that's such an easy way to make it prettier. You can make the
Hmm.
back of a stop sign beautiful in 3 seconds.
Yeah, Denver has these weird things. They have these like they almost look like car registration tags that they put on the back of all the signs down in the art district. So I don't know if they're like
Mm.
building a database of stickers and every time they clean them off to try to get repeat offenders, but they've got like hole punches with like
Oh,
months that I think they clean them off with, but I've told everybody I know, like, do you know anything about that? And nobody does. So it's like, what are they doing here? I don't know if you got to start covering those up
funny.
too, or take those down before you get too busy. Like,
Yeah, well, hopefully all that's just a conspiracy and they're
yeah,
not
right.
actually tracking.
Use some
Or
machine
maybe they have
learning.
like maybe they have this huge binder of your stickers and
Right.
they're
Like,
like, someday.
we're going to catch him in the act.
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew a dude that got caught up and they tried to get him with all graffiti in the city. And he was like, What?
What?
Hold on.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah, that was the case they built. They were just like, "Oh, good thing we caught you. So we're gonna claim that you've done everything." It's like, it's kind of a small town. I get it, but like, all right, in your peace of mind, everybody knows that you didn't actually go out and do everything. Like,
Yeah,
teenage
what?
kid
That's
too.
absurd.
Yeah, it was like
That is
so
so
wild.
crazy. It's like, oh, you murdered someone. Well, we have 10 unsolved
Yeah,
murders from last
literally.
year.
It's like,
You did them all.
now you're a serial killer. It's like, what?
Yeah. That's just so funny.
Yeah, it was
Well, you
wild.
did all this graffiti.
And two, it's like one of those with like the sticker stuff. It's like literally I send my stickers all over. The chances that just because my icon is there, you can't get Shepherd Ferry because someone else put up a little icon face. Like his stickers are
Hmm.
around the world. Who's to say everybody else's isn't too? Like,
Yeah, that's true. You really got to be caught like in the act for anything to.
yeah.
But once again, if it's a sticker, it's like, how bad is that gonna go? Do you know anybody that has like
Um,
gotten
I
any
think I heard of someone getting a fine.
problems?
Yeah, a fine for, and they treated it as like illegal posting of bills, which is like when people put flyers and
Oh,
stuff up. So it's like what, $500 fine, but you still
yeah,
have people that do like the grunge advertising with all the wheat paste, and you see like all the Gulf Wang like posters all around all the boarded up buildings. Like that's grunge marketing,
yeah,
and that's technically illegal, but advertising companies pay a teenager to go do it, and no one really whines. Like,
yeah. Seriously, that's actually I've never heard of that before. That's actually a good idea, and I'm about to write it down right
sure,
now.
there's your wheat paste idea. Because I mean, like all
Yeah,
like
I don't know. I'm so obsessed with the wheat pasting.
it's, yeah, it's a fun one. It's a good time too. It's, it's larger than life if you want it to be, so you can really stretch an image and get a lot of detail quickly. Um,
Hmm.
so I see a decent amount here. There's this one artist that does like this big heart, and they're all over, even like commissioned by some of the cities around here, and it's like totally casual, like really graphic design, has just hope written through the center of it, but it's like super clean, well executed, and you're like, all right, that certainly does brighten the mood of this wall. I don't care if it's legal or illegal, like definitely can get behind
Mm,
that.
yeah, that reminds me of a mural I read about Keith Haring
Okay.
that he did at the beginning of his career, where apparently there's this massive wall that just had this huge pile of trash in
Oh,
front of
good.
it, just
Mm.
disgusting wall. And him and his friend were like, well, if we go and we clean up all the trash and then start painting a mural,
That's a fair
no
trade.
one's gonna question. Yeah, they were like, no one's
Right.
gonna like people are gonna think we were hired by the city,
Hmm.
and like even if the city does come, it's like, well, we just cleaned up all this trash and now
Yep.
we're painting a mural. And I think that's actually I don't remember exactly how it all went, but I think that's kind of how it went, where the
He's a
city
good
did show up and they
Samaritan.
were like, hey, that's you can't paint there. And they're like, don't you remember what this looked like?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
let us have it.
I took a picture beforehand just to remind you.
Yeah, yeah, seriously. So I don't know, I wanted to do something like that too, just like find a hideous part of town, this hideous wall, and just be like, all right, I'm gonna paint something pretty
Little
here, and
vigilante
hopefully
goodness,
it
yeah.
goes well. You know?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's like intent means so much. Like you said, there are people there that are out to just destroy property. There are people there that are out to beautify. It's like, I'm
Yeah.
sure, I would hope that intent holds well, and that like truly, if it was a building that they're not trying to sell or would have to rehab before they sell anyways, you're not diminishing the value. It is what it is, and it's gonna have to change before anybody really turns value on it. So who's to whine when you get a
Yeah.
nice picture for a little bit?
Yeah. Exactly. And also, I feel like public art can sometimes raise property values.
Yeah,
You know,
maybe.
just having a prettier neighborhood. It's
Hmm.
like maybe you're literally cleaning it up, putting a fresh coat on the building, that sort
Yeah,
of thing.
I swear Philly leaves some spots like just so people can go and paint there and have a space. There's maybe 3 or 4 places that are so low key, right, kind of in the city sound, and nobody whines at you if you sneak under the fence and go in there. And it's one of those that's like, yeah, it's probably just turn a blind eye, let people do what they want. They're gonna find
Hmm.
a reason to do it anyways, and at least you give them like
Hmm.
kind of a corner over here to not get in the way of everybody else. Like no one that is
Yep.
not looking for a
Yep.
little bit of art's gonna end up over there. So why really force it to be anything but a small underground art scene?
Yep. Exactly. And it's just it's kind of like the same logic of like, you know, like with skate parks. Like
Mm.
if your city doesn't have many skate parks, people will just skateboard in the city.
Yep.
But if
Yep.
you kind of like give all these artists, like if you give them this little corner to go paint a
Hmm.
bunch, it's like, well, that'll probably because some people just want to go paint a wall, but they
Yeah.
don't have
Yeah.
access to a wall. So
I
it's
had
like
someone
they got to
email
go
me about that
steal one.
yesterday. Yeah. They're like, how did you find a legal wall? It's like, I just so happened
Yeah.
to live in an area that had one. Like, please, this is not the typical, but should be.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it's cool. That would almost be a cool like public park
Mm.
in like a corner of like a city park is just like tagging is completely on limits. Just whatever you want to paint, whatever you want to cover. That'd be really
Yeah.
cool.
LA has a pretty decent set at one of the beaches there, but the problem is that
Mm.
every city hates is that just because you have the wall there doesn't mean people aren't going to tag every surface nearby, which is like so fair.
That is
So
true.
it's like, there are palm trees next door that have tags going up and down it. It's like, so what do we buff out the palm
Yeah.
trees every 2 months? It's like, you can't
Yeah.
really solve that because, I'm there too. It's like, yeah, sure, there's another surface over here. Let's try that one out.
That's true. It's tricky because there's the same argument with once again with skateboarders in the
Mm.
skate park where it's
Hmm.
like, okay, well if you have this skate park, like they also skateboard, across the
To get
street
there,
at that
yeah,
nice
and
staircase at the library or
on my
whatever.
way, yeah.
So it's tricky, but I don't
I
know,
don't know.
especially with painting, it's a little hard. Yeah, especially like painting a palm tree. That's hilarious. I feel like if a bunch of people
Right.
show up with paint cans like to a place, it's hard to keep them
Yeah,
contained.
yeah, exactly. That's human nature at its finest too. It's like, look, I have a hammer and there's a nail. I'm gonna probably put the nail in. Look, I've spray paint. There's a surface. We're probably gonna try and paint it. Like,
Yeah. No, that reminds me of like I just feel like so often when like young kids get their hands on spray paint, it's like
mm-hmm.
the natural urge is to just like go paint things and
Yeah,
like it
yeah,
makes so much sense. That's what the tool is made to do. But
yeah.
there's this one time just not even a year ago, this last summer at an elementary school by my house, it was just woke up one morning and it was just covered in
Oh,
like
gee.
the most immature tags like
Scribbles and
Derek
X's and
was
O's.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
scribbled and like giant penises,
Of
12
course, of
feet, just
course.
like the dumbest tags, like, and so it was clearly just like a few kids and it was just like, you could tell it was just like green, it was green paint. They only had one color. It was
Yeah.
like probably Rust-Oleum. It didn't look that nice. And like, they probably just took it out of their parents' shed and for some reason went to the elementary school and
Dude,
just
it's
covered it.
invigorating. Spray paint's a fun medium. It's enthralling to just let it loose, and even if you are scribbling, I probably get the same enjoyment that you just did. Like,
Yeah, it's super cool. It's like a flamethrower type
yeah,
of cool, but
right. Like,
paint, I guess.
such a
Like
foreign.
paint thrower.
Yep, such an unnatural
That's what we should
mechanism.
call them.
Paint throwers, love
Paint
it.
thrower.
Next level of graffiti art.
Yeah, I'm not a graffiti artist. I'm a paint
Paint
thrower.
thrower. All right, Pollock. New age.
Yes, I guess. Yeah, there's a few different ways to look at paint thrower. That's funny. So do you other than stickers and some drawing, do you do many other art forms? Like okay, in screen printing too, but
Yeah, a
do
little
you
bit
ever
of that.
paint
Not a
or
ton, honestly. No, I have taken classes here and there, but I don't know. Never had the patience to do that. I don't know. Still life stuff. was always what classes drew towards, and that never was like exciting enough for me. So I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah, definitely not a great painter. Do a lot of marker based stuff, so could be a skill that's a
That's very true.
little lacking, but I don't know. Yeah, definitely just hasn't captivated me as much as like the design side of things goes and Photoshop or whatever. I get a lot out of
Yeah,
digitalizing stuff. How about yourself?
absolutely. And that's kind of
See,
like the beauty of art is that there's so many different routes you can
mm-hmm,
go down. You really can like pick and choose. Like, oh,
mm-hmm.
I really like this. I really like that.
Yeah, you said you were
Um,
busy with
I
painting
mean,
too.
yeah, I'd love to paint. Something about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I always like doodled a bunch, but once I started painting, I feel like paint is just like liquid color.
Yeah, it sure
And
is.
like it's kind of obvious, but it's interesting. Like you can just like literally just like smear color all over and
Mm-hmm.
make something. I don't know. I right when I started painting, I really started to like it, but personally, I mean, I want to try at least try like every medium
Of
of
course, yeah.
art.
See
I
what
think
sticks.
it's see what I like, see what sticks, yeah, and just like another thing I'm big on is I feel like you can like the skills translate. I guess like
Definitely.
once I got better at painting,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I approached my drawings differently
Mm-hmm.
and I understood color better, or I understood how to work with perspective in a different way. So it's just like they're if they're all connected, like I'm trying to do them all. Like I want to sculpt
Yeah.
someday out of
Yeah. Heck yeah.
marble. Like that'd
Mm-hmm.
be so cool. That'd
Yeah, I was listening
be
to
so
a
cool.
cause interview, and he kind of had the same trajectory there. He's like, "Yeah, I didn't know I liked to do toys or inflatables until I did, and I'm not gonna write off that I won't like doing marble sketches later." And it's like, no, respectfully so. It's like so much of art that I enjoy too is just the idea or the imagery, let alone what the medium is that best suits that form. It is cool to not limit yourself and be kind of open. Who knows what that means as far as the next medium, but always eager to keep my curiosities.
Totally. And I feel like having different mediums has allowed me to like sometimes there are things that like I can't express in a painting or something,
Hmm.
but I can in a song. Like if I make some music,
Sure,
like
sure, yeah.
and there are things that I can draw, but I could never uh, turn into a sticker or
Mm-hmm,
something. You know, like
mm-hmm.
there's things that work better in some mediums than other
That's
mediums.
fair. Yeah,
So it,
definitely.
I I like the concept of if I get good at a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
mediums, then I'll be able to have like the best tool. It's like in my head, it's like growing a huge wood shop, like a massive workshop where you have all these tools. And like
Right, right.
if you have more tools, you can just kind of build different things. You can build the same thing in more efficient ways. You
Mm-hmm.
can do things you could never do before
Yeah, it's the
almost. So
classic
I
like
think these
there is no luck. It's just opportunity meeting experience and you being ready for whatever that next thing might be. It's like, sure enough, yeah, just wetting my toes and trying this, that, and everything might lead to a better
Mhm.
understanding of something that is totally abstracted from that. So I think that's a good creative approach too. Not that I see too many people limiting themselves, but I hate to see when people are like, "Oh, I want to get into that, but I need someone to teach me how to do it." It's like, well, you could just try and do it. Like you could,
Yep.
you're always gonna start in the same place. Like you're not gonna know what you don't know, so just try. Like that's I've always been, I've always naturally rewarded myself with that because it's like, oh yeah, it didn't take me as long to learn that as I thought it would. Or you get 90% the way there and you're like, nah, I don't really like that medium. I can go along my way without really messing with that.
Oh, for sure. And I just feel like there's not too much of an excuse anymore. Like
Right. Yeah.
maybe you personally, this individual does need a teacher. It's
Hmm.
like, well,
Hmm.
there's 1,000 of them on YouTube,
Yep.
so you can go there and get it. But I do agree. I think some of the best learning is just by experience,
Yeah.
and
Just get you
that's
get in
really how I
there.
learned. That's how I learned how to screen print, especially. Like
Hmm.
I watched, one or two YouTube tutorials and decided that that was enough
Yeah,
and I was going to
hooked.
try it. And then so then I dove in and I messed up and I spent $100 on mistakes. But I feel like that kind of gave me a deeper understanding. You
Yeah,
know, like you learn from your
definitely.
failures.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason we've been told that 1,000 times. It's just true.
I had one teacher outside of art, but he said, fail early and fail often, so you know where the hiccups are.
Hmm.
It's like is you're not going to know these things until you get started, so just get started, mess up a bunch, and then you'll figure it out from there. Like you'll be well informed 10% of the way in, and then you can pivot and do whatever you want from there. So sticking through it means a whole
Exactly.
lot. Because, dude, I was there with you. First t-shirts I printed, it was like, why the heck did all this green ink set into this black hoodie? You can barely even see the design. It's like, well, I gotta fix this. Like, this looks
Yep.
nothing like what I wanted
Yep.
it to look like. It's like, I'm not gonna give up. All
Yep.
right, let's try 2 layers. That just falls off the hoodie now. It's like the trial and error
Yep.
is always so fun.
Yep. But see, now our conversation has gone full circle because yeah, if you look at failures optimistically, then
Right, right.
it's the mistakes don't exist. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Like
Right back
if
to it.
like I sometimes I get excited to fail because it it gives you something to research, something to
Mm-hmm.
learn. Then it opens that door. It's like honestly, when I'm painting something, sometimes my favorite part is when I mess up, like when I
Sure,
do something
I
that
could see
kind
that.
of kind of goes against what I had planned or go
Mm-hmm.
against the script, because then it's like almost a blank slate again, where it's like, okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
all that you built up in your head is now gone, and you need to accept that and start from where you are. And
Mm-hmm.
like that's a pretty freeing thing.
Yeah, I definitely try not to let, I won't admit that, or I will admit that, like, definitely can be frustrated with the piece sometimes when it doesn't look like what you're going, and it's hard to wrap your head around
Oh
why it's
yeah.
not working. But, whether it's quitting or just giving it time to, like, rest and then a fresh set of eyes on it, it's like, chances are, if you are understanding that it's bad right now, you have the ability to kind of wrap your head around what might make it better. So, just
Hmm.
not beating yourself up over that is like definitely helps me push through some pieces that are like a far stretch in areas that like I'm not comfortable, or I'm pushing the bounds of like what I can actually design or put together. And I don't know, I've ditched projects plenty of times, but the ones I've stuck through, it's like more often than not I'm happy with whatever I come up with, because it's definitely far away from the bad that it used to be.
Absolutely. And I feel like, I mean, when I made the video entitled it "Mistakes Don't Exist,"
Mm.
I was largely talking to myself also,
Oh
because it's
yeah,
so much
right.
easier
Yeah.
said than done. Like
Mm.
I mean, I get so
Hindsight, right?
frustrated with art so often that it's just like, you know, sometimes you got to just accept where it is, accept
Yep.
how it is, and
Yeah, and hit it on the next
learn to
stride too.
adapt.
Yeah, it's like just because
Mhm.
this piece isn't perfect probably means the next one won't be either. But I don't know. Even my sketchbooks. It's like I leave pages blank halfway through, thinking like, all right, I'll save this one for something that's really good. And it's like, honestly, might as well just use it front to back, because chances that I come back to this idea and really want to flush it out again are slim. So why don't I just like fill in the blank spaces where I can with doodles, and just keep the pages rolling. Don't look in the rearview mirror too often. Just keep the pace as best you can.
Absolutely, keep it all rolling. I think that's a really cool way to look at it. And when I actually, that's one thing that, because I didn't start my art journey until pretty late in life. I mean, the first time I had ever like I because what was happening was I was in school for engineering, but I was
Mm-hmm.
just doodling all day. Like that's all I
Sure,
really wanted
sure.
to do. And that's all it really was just like doodles on my homework. Like it
Just
wasn't
mindless
like
kind of
anything.
thing.
Yeah, it wasn't serious. It was just
Mm-hmm.
kind of like what was coming out of me, I guess. But then eventually I started painting, and I think one of the things I'm most drawn to in art is the vastness of how much you can grow and how much there is to explore
Yeah,
and
it's
how much
as
there
much you
is to
want to try.
create. And And I think back to like I used to play a lot of video games when I was
Okay.
young, like in high school. I played a ton of video games. And I think what something I loved most about video games was like the ability to level up your character and like,
Mhm.
oh, if I do these challenges, I unlock new things. Like just that
The
concept was
achievement.
like
Yeah, sure,
so
sure.
cool to me.
Mhm.
Yeah, the achievements and the
Mhm.
progression. And then once I started with art, I mean, I just completely stopped playing video games because I think I found that same fix, but in art, in something like very tangible in my life. So it quickly became like, oh, instead of, if I go on this quest in Skyrim, I get this. It's like, oh, if I try my hardest to paint for
Mhm.
5 hours, I get a little better at painting.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. And it is almost it's that tangible skill too that's it's somewhat enthralling because like I don't know, I enjoy many things in life, but like actually being able to draw or paint better is like such a tangible skill that will kind of be there. So having that and leveling up your own RPG character is fun, you know. Getting that new toolbox
mhm,
piece is like half of it cuz like you said, I've had plenty of fun designing things in mediums that were so foreign to pencil, paper, and a sticker that like I don't even know how to share that on my YouTube channel. Like I have this whole speaker project I
mhm.
made at school, wild like CNC project would be cool, but totally separate of a vein of thought and design process. And it's like, well, something I might share someday. I've got all the footage from it, but it's like doesn't quite fit right now. I don't know. Like, but fun skill to have, and
Yeah,
maybe I will convert that skill back into something more typical to the stuff here.
that's true. I mean, there are plenty of ways you could find to share it though. Like
Mm.
even as simple as like doing I mean, I don't think I'd say do another YouTube channel, but I mean, I feel like if you put it on your YouTube page, it would probably be pretty well received. Just like, oh
Maybe,
wow,
yeah.
he's making that too. Like I don't know.
Worth a
No one's
shot.
gonna no one that actually cares about what you do is gonna like
Oh,
unsubscribe.
too, and
Like
it's not for that,
I
right?
don't
Yeah,
know.
if
I
someone
mean, I
was
hope
that on the
not. I
fringe,
hope
like
not.
I don't need them. Like,
Yeah. I don't
yeah,
know.
it's
I
one of
mean, and
those.
that's kind of it's an interesting spot where I'm at with my YouTube thing
Hmm.
because I mean, I fully intend on doing everything. Like I'm
Nice,
I'm
love it.
trying to like
Hmm.
I want to touch everything and that's going to make a lot of people mad and a lot of people happy, but I want to do everything. And like one thing I do love doing is like skits, like short videos,
I
goofy
noticed. I was
things.
digging through some of your old ones. They were good.
No, no way. Which ones did you? What's one
I
that
was
you
watching
watched? Do
the
you
sticker
remember any?
pack video where you're running around the street yelling at people.
3 stickers for
Yeah,
$2.
loved it.
That's awesome. That's a fun one. But anyway, so I love doing yeah, like things like that and just like but it's interesting where I'm at right now because like 99% of my growth has been the the rugs, right? The
Hmm.
tufting has really made all of this like come to life for me. So most of the people that are there kind of for the rugs. And
I
so
don't
I
know.
think
I'd be
it'll be really
surprised.
interesting to see like out of nowhere when I drop a skit on them, I drop a goofy video and
Sure.
they're like, wait, what? This isn't a rug.
I mean, I would be surprised
But
if it was that linear. I would suspect that a lot of people there are your personality has value to it too. Like don't knock that. Like I watch a lot of Schmood
for
stuff.
sure. That's what I'm
No
banking on.
no chance that like I go and I'm starting to quilt some of the stuff he does, but I enjoy his presence. I enjoy hearing his critique of his process, and it's like some stuff I probably will never try,
Good point.
but good to know if I ever need to make a macrame, I can go check out his video and fall back on it. you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. And he really does do like a ton of things
Yeah,
too,
he
like
seems
just
as a wide net.
random. Like he'll be embroidering and doing a making a mirror. Like
Hmm.
yeah, he'll be all over.
But
That's a
once
good
again,
point.
a lot of style to his personality too, and how he approaches stuff. So, not that even his project to project is super typical, but you almost know to expect good quality, a well-rounded outcome at the end. So that's always fun to see.
Yeah, and just the videos he makes. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like that's almost the constant,
Mm.
like even though the content kind of changes, it's like, well, it's always him and it's always his editing, I
Yep.
think, and
Yep.
always his voice. And so it's always like his video.
Hmm.
It's just the content kind of changes. And
Yeah.
that's absolutely a
I
sustainable
aspire to have
thing.
that same or a tenth of that style and approach to my stuff. Who knows if I'm able to capture that half the time, but it's one of those that it's like I definitely appreciate when someone has not so much an aesthetic, but just a baseline that you can come to expect and appreciate and know that it breeds quality kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true. Well, maybe you got to post your CNC
Yeah,
project
dude,
video
maybe
then.
that's the one. Break people into the wood shop.
What'd you make?
So they're are you familiar with speakers at all? They're called transmission line speakers. So they basically, when the speaker reflexes back into the casing, it turns the turns the 60 hertz frequency into a port that pumps right back out the front. So you get like an extra bass boost
Oh,
out of the
wow.
driver. So like there's a whole bunch of math on the backside about how much volume to put on the interior of the speaker and how to size
Oh,
everything.
wow.
But I made them into this really like gnarly, like almost like
Huh.
earlobe looking shape. So it like almost look was that a cochlear, like the interior of your ear kind of thing. They're pretty gnarly. I can share a picture
Wow.
with you on the Instagram, but
You should.
it was one of those that like it was a senior year of college side class that one of my friends just casually mentioned. He was like, "Yeah, dude, they're offering this speaker making class." I was like, "Hell yeah!" Product design director was leading it. Super chill guy. Friday afternoons, you just get to hang out in the workshop and build your own speakers. Downside was you had to pay for all your materials, but it was like you get what you give in kind of thing. So it was one of those projects that
Hmm.
was like never could I ever value making a second pair because it would be 80 hours of work and what am I going to charge you $1,000 for some homemade speakers? But it's like I don't know, they look pretty nice and they're in the surround sound setup at the living room, so I can get with that. At least I get to enjoy them kind
Do
of
they
thing.
do they work good?
Yeah,
Do
they
they work
sound real
good? Was your
nice.
project successful?
Yep, yeah, they're tuned pretty solid. So the math behind it helped and met all the requirements there. And honestly, speakers you can a $10 speaker is really good quality on a DIY level if you size everything about its box correctly. So it was a fun project.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's super interesting. See, I would love to watch that. Yeah,
They're a mega nerds
I think
too,
that's super
like
cool.
on the speaker design thing. So I'd have to buff back up on why I did certain things and how I designed it, because I'm sure there'd be some experts out there ready to chew my design approach up.
Yeah.
But they're
Do
pretty
you do you
gnarly.
think you have any do you think you have any like subscribers that have been there since like your very beginning? Like, are there
Uh,
any people that
I don't know if there are any active ones. Every once in a while, you'll get somebody that like comments back on a video from like 2008, being like, "Yo, totally remember watching this in middle school," kind of thing. I
Oh yeah.
there's probably some, but my guess is just like art, people ebb and flow in and out of it. It's so hard for me to claim
Yeah.
that art's been a constant for 10 years, let alone if me following another artist has been a constant for 10 years. But I'm sure people check in from time to
Yeah.
time, just the same as I do with
That's
people that
super
I used to
interesting.
interact with.
Yeah. I was just thinking that because like I went back to your very early videos and there's some with like, not that many views because they were
Sure.
posted like 12 years ago or some crazy amount of time ago. And I'm like, I wonder if any of those people are like still watching. That'd be so
Yeah,
cool. But
I love the fact
I
that
think what you said makes total sense.
I love the fact that I can go back and like have the recollection of like the sticker pack I traded with that guy and this and that or that art piece I put together.
Yeah.
It's like it's a nice
It's like a
little
journal
yeah,
almost.
literally. Like if anything, it's that. It's a little time capsule of like what was I doing in 2008? Oh yeah, trading stickers still. Like nice. Who was I trading with? Sweet. What did I think was hype around then?
That's
Like
hilarious. Yeah, doing the same old, same old.
More or
That's
less. I don't
awesome.
know, but it's a good
Right.
time.
I love that. I love your YouTube picture is like a drawing from one of your sketchbooks from way
Literally,
back then.
I haven't changed it. I feel like obligated not to at this point. Like,
Oh, did you make it your picture like right at the
dude,
beginning,
it
and
was
that's just what it's always
literally.
been?
I think it's like it was the thumbnail of like the second or third video, and it was like, "You need an
Yep.
icon. Pick from 5 of your thumbnails," kind of thing. Back when YouTube was like,
What?
yeah, dude, way retro. I I probably can find the black book that's in, but yeah, man, that's a throwback.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. So, were you using YouTube back when it was like when you rated it with stars
Probably,
instead of thumbs
yeah,
up, thumbs
yeah.
down?
Rating it was definitely a thing. Cause what was it? There was
Yeah,
an old
rating
saying. It
it.
was like rate, comment, subscribe was like the catch line that everybody
Yep,
would end with.
yep.
And I'm sure I have a few of those hitting the
Now it's
mix.
now it's like and subscribe.
Yeah, yeah. Ring the bell.
Huh. Yeah, ring the bell.
Never have
Haven't
I
seen that.
ever. That's the thing I always get conned with is like, how much do I play into the culture? Like, do I lean in and just double down? I'm always so timid with that
Yep,
stuff. It's like I'm coming off as a poser because I'm doing this video because I like to do it. You should like it if you want to like it. I'm not gonna tell you to like it.
yep. No, you gotta find your kind of like sweet spot, and that's kind
Right.
of what I've been realizing with my own stuff because I feel like it does help, and actually they said that on, like, the YouTube creators page, like,
Oh,
the
for
the
sure.
people who
Reminding
code
people.
YouTube. They're
Yeah.
like they're like, "If you just ask them to subscribe, like, a higher percentage does." And so it's like, "Okay, well, I'm interested in that, but I don't wanna, like, beg it out of
Right,
you," you
right,
know? Like,
right. I feel so
I feel like I should
awkward.
earn this. Yeah. No, that's hilarious. Ring the bell. I feel like I just watched a video. What was it? I don't know. It was some video where I didn't expect. It was some like he was probably like 60, 70 years old,
Oh,
an
solid.
older gentleman. And he had his YouTube page going, and then just I did not expect it from him, but out of nowhere, he's like, subscribe, ring the bell, and I'm like, yeah,
Dude, he's on
I
it.
got such a kick out of it. Yeah,
That's
I
so
I
great.
loved it. I was like, "I will."
Yeah, all right, I'm into it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's probably just about finding your own sweet spot. Because I mean, if you're just making the videos because you like making the videos, absolutely do that. If you're trying to be Mr. Beast, well,
Right, right. He's on the crazy
we gotta
hustle.
ask for some. Yeah, he's kinda like some kinda genius with it, though,
Dude, it's
because
a game
the
show at
things
this
I'm
point.
seeing. Seriously, and just he'll have, like, people on there, like, competing for
Stupid
$500,000, and
amounts of
he's like, "Oh,
money.
this person is a random person that subscribed to me, so
Yep.
you should subscribe." And in the back of my head, I'm like, "Oh my god, like,
There's a
I should
chance. Like
subscribe."
literally.
Like,
There's a non-zero chance if I subscribe, that could be that person. So
yeah, I
funny.
mean, it's probably like buying a lottery ticket or even
Right,
less, but
right.
it's I mean, that's why it's genius because people still spend millions of dollars on lottery tickets, so
Dude, not I. I would rather spend my chances on my art's enough of a gamble, let alone something
yeah.
some fluid.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I beat myself up over a project that I don't think I filmed much of, but my friend had me design like a hot sauce label for him. And I was like, damn, that could have
Nice.
made for a pretty cool, like full on video if I had some forethought to it. I was like, well, did the sketch in my free time. And that's where my thing is like, how much am I doing this for the pleasure and how much am I doing it just to like show the process? So I con myself sometimes with that where I'm like, I missed out on something that probably could have been good. So why don't I just film everything? Like,
Yep, exactly, but see that I was kinda at a similar spot, almost over the edge, though, where I I decided, like, "Okay, I'm gonna film everything,"
mm,
and then I found myself, like, I wasn't, like, painting for fun as much
yeah, yeah, yep.
anymore because I was like, "Oh, I gotta make this into a video, and it has to be quality," and
Hmm.
it's like, well, no, in reality, like, I feel like to paint my best paintings, I should paint, like, a bunch of things that I'm not too hyped on, and then it's that one that it's like, oh, that's really sick, and just
That's fair.
hopefully I filmed that one.
Yeah, I wonder in hindsight what, you know, how and where the trajectory will go, because like even the sticker stuff, like that might not be the end calling, or even your t-shirts every week, that might not be the end calling. So that always
Mhm.
helps inspire me a little bit. It's like, you know, take it for what it is. Maybe taking the time off from filming every project or uploading a little bit less is worthwhile to hash out some creative ideas on the back burner rather than be so meticulous and linear with design, create, and upload.
Exactly. Yeah. Help invest in yourself and your
Mm,
own development instead of
mm-hmm.
just the YouTube channel,
Right. Yeah, I mean,
or
even
your
stuff
art
like
page or
this I
whatever.
like is like so rarely do you demand that you sit down for a couple hours and shoot the shit, you know, that I think
Yeah.
that obviously goes a long way with giving you a break from the general mold of creativity. Um, I started a Discord just for people to talk about stickers and stuff, and it's funny to see how much people just, you know, have small talk in there and like the avenue of more discussion over less. You know, people are always just
Hmm.
giving comments and suggestions, and you get the whole range of it in there. So it is cool to see that even when you're not doing the full creativity, it captivates you at some level. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Discord's interesting for that reason, how you can just see, I haven't used it too much, but it is
Me
cool how you can
neither.
just give
Yeah.
make a community like that. It's like here's a place for like-minded people to
Hmm.
talk about that like thing.
Yeah, little message board kind of thing. I never have I ever gotten into a message board by any regard, but it I can definitely see the attraction, and I'll pop in there a couple of times a day and see what's going on kind of thing. And if something I want to talk about is there, I'm all in, you know.
Yeah, seriously.
More
That's
productive than
that's super
browsing
interesting.
Reddit and Instagram all day, you know.
Yeah, no, truly, that's a much better use of time talking with, like-minded creatives. Yeah, or
Hmm.
like this phone call, like it's pretty refreshing, It's
Oh,
inspiring me. I want to go. Well, I'm definitely thinking stickers now. I'm
yeah,
like,
dude.
especially the screen printing plastisol on vinyl.
If you
That
need any
changed everything
suggestions,
for me.
maybe I'll try and dig up some videos. I don't know that I ever made a tutorial on it, but a trade that was passed down to me that I love to share with other people because it goes and gets you where you need to be for not much extra effort.
Yeah. No, seriously. And you can make massive stickers that way
Oh, for
too.
sure. And even it's like I would print huge vinyl stickers of all my t-shirt prints and have those as extras to pass along. So, you know, like
Oh,
12-inch sticker that is the same as the design. It's like that's bigger than my laptop. Like I don't even know where to put this kind of thing. It's like that's the problem I want to hit. Is like let's make this thing huge so you don't know what to put it on. Like
yeah, seriously. How do you cure the plastisol? Do you have a heat gun or a flash
I
cure?
have a
Or
flash cure when I was doing it, but you could definitely get away with a heat gun. You know that I guess so long as there's not a ton of ink.
yeah.
Big sections. It depends on how much density is there, but when it's cure, it gets pretty toasty pretty quick.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, well, I'm definitely trying to. I think I might get a vinyl cutter too, because that's been on my mind for a while.
It's
And
a
then
fun one as well.
just like because of this talk and leading up to this talk, I definitely went through and watched a lot of your videos, and I was just like, oh my god, that's so cool. Like I love the layering of stickers where you like cut two of the same sticker and make like a drop shadow
Yep,
out of it
yeah.
or something.
Yeah, it
So cool.
adds depth really quickly. Yeah, I promise it's addicting seeing as I've been here for quite some time just trying to perfect each little bit of making them myself. But yeah, dude, fun pass around too when you have friends or whatever that stop by the studio and just like, you want a stack of stickers because I got 4 new designs that I'm pretty hype on.
Yeah. And I love how you say a stack of stickers. Like
They don't come in ones.
you
No,
don't talk you don't
no.
talk in like one or two quantity anymore.
Always many.
Your bed is made of stickers. You
Dude,
probably just have so
I'm
many.
not lying to you. The underside of my bed is where I keep the inventory. So
That's
Big
so
old
funny.
rolly bins, pulling them out and stacking packs, you know.
Yeah,
Well, dude, this
that's
was a good
awesome.
time. I really enjoyed chopping it up with you. I think
Yeah, man.
I think we'll see good things on the other side, both from the new creative endeavors and the ongoing freestyle Fridays with all the t-shirts.
Oh, for sure. And I'll definitely, once I get my sticker operation up and running, I'll give you a nice deserved shout out.
For sure, dude. I'll
I'm super
definitely.
hyped.
You got to drop me your address. I'll send you some inspiration of some of my new stuff that I'm working on.
Cool.
And
Cool. And
and
I'll make you a shirt. We'll do a little
oh, a little trade
exchange.
off. Drop it off on the sticker submissions. It'll mix its
Yeah.
way right
Oh,
on
what?
in.
Beautiful.
Dude, I love
Beautiful.
it.
Yeah, well, seriously such a pleasure to talk to you. Really appreciate the time.
Dude,
We've
of
been talking
course.
for like almost 3 hours or
Oh,
something.
gee. Ooh, where does the time go?
I know it's a good sign though. This is the best conversation, so
Yeah,
I do definitely really appreciate it.
right on. Well, to anybody that stuck it out through the end, I'll drop Flavor World's links down below if you haven't clicked over there amongst the conversation already. But yeah, definitely enjoyed it.
Cool.
Maybe we'll get a triad guest on here next time and we can chop it up again. It'd be good to have a little round table rather than just back and forth, you know?
That's a cool idea. I'm absolutely down.
Right on. Well, we'll hope to make it happen. Be sure to check out his stuff. That's gonna do it for us. Peace out.
Woo, bye YouTube.